Guys, brand new podcast. If you're listening to this right now, then you need to know this weekend I am in Victoria, British Columbia, Vancouver, British Columbia, Vancouver, British Columbia for 4 shows. I'm doing Vancouver for 4 shows, Victoria and Spokane, and Red Rocks is next week. Then Lafayette, Lubbock, Texas, Corpus Christi, all through Texas. I can't wait. Birdie Boy Relapse Tour is back on. I'm ready to get ready for this special. So come out, see me. This is the hour I will be performing all my special in Omaha, November 16th and 17th for Netflix. Today's guest needs no introduction at all. I would argue he may be the best American podcaster alive. He is my favorite. This guy makes me giggle so fucking hard. It is ridiculous. We have a fantastic conversation today about everything. My daughter Isla, who is a huge fan of his, shows up. He has a new special on Netflix called A Real Hero. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who actually needs no introduction. My friend, comedian, podcaster, Netflix special personnel, Tim Dillon. So the other night, so you're on Rogan and you give an epic fucking rant, right? 12-minute rant about the decline of America.
Yes.
So
my brand.
So I'm taking my daughter to the high school.
Yeah.
I don't even realize where. Yeah. Oh, Gary, there you got a mic just in case. Yeah.
Of course.
So I don't even realize. I don't realize what I listen to around Isla. And I'm listening to you. And she starts giggling. She goes, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I said, I think you've met Tim.
Yeah.
She goes, I said, no, I think you have. So we listened to the whole thing. So last night I said to Leanne, we're doing these fucking genetic biomarkers or whatever, some fucking Rogan shit later today. And I said, I got a podcast with Tim Dillon. And Leanne goes, oh, how's he doing? I go, great. Have you seen, he's got a new special. And Isla goes, Mom, he is hilarious. I go,
that's awesome.
I go, hold on. She goes, is the guy from the car?
Yeah.
Mom, he's good. And I went,
that's awesome.
But it's so bizarre that my 16-year-old is a Tim Dillon fan.
Well, it's good. That's good. I mean, thank Christ. I mean, it is bizarre, but she's on a cool vibrational plane.
But it's interesting because, like, I know you as one thing. Like, I'll say this. I've said this. The last few podcasts.
Yeah.
You might be the best American podcaster we have.
You're
my favorite to listen to. You make me giggle. And I wasn't, and I'll be very honest with you. At the whole turn, the Alex Jones stuff. Yeah. When you were with Rogan and Alex Jones. Yeah. I have a hard time listening to Alex Jones.
Of course.
And so I never really got into those. But then when you started doing Rogan by yourself. Yeah. Man, it turned. I said it to Joe the other night when we were in Austin. Yeah. You make me giggle hard as fuck.
Well, good. Thank God. It's the goal.
Yeah.
That's what we try to do.
Yeah. But I was saying it today to someone. I was like, Tim's got his finger on the pulse of the Harambe, Epstein, fucking Zuckerberg, everything going on. How the fuck do you take in information?
My producer takes in a lot. Ben, he spends a lot of time online.
I love that you said, these are all Ben's rants. I'm just reciting them. And there was Rogan's notorious for not getting a joke. Right. There was a second where he was like, wait, true, Mom?
I guess I'm just interested in stuff, and I think whatever makes me laugh, I tend to talk about. So if I read about something and something's making me laugh, I think there's a chance it'll make somebody else laugh. And every story now is so wild. There's a story we're going to talk about this week where somebody walked in, and I forget where it was. There were like children taking orders in a McDonald's, like someone had their kids come and just covered their shift. They were like teenagers taking orders in a McDonald's, and like people were like, what the fuck? And people left. People were like, this is crazy. And then some people didn't care. Some people were like, yeah, fucking Big Mac. It was a literal child. Like things like that. It is such a crazy country that there are so many crazy things. They're funny. They're very funny getting out there. And the internet's got its own culture, which is very negative in many instances, but also there's a lot of funny there. But you got to unplug every now and then. So I try to unplug as much as I can.
Do you read comments?
I try not to, but occasionally you do.
Yeah.
But I try not to only because I always felt like I didn't want to be steered a certain way. And I feel like I want to be able to do what I think is good without people being like, do this or don't do this.
So wait, how did you avoid that in New York then? Because I remember I remember distinctly a time when people were like, don't move to LA, don't go out there. There was an energy of New York people telling you what to do and what not to do. I won't name names, but
you're right.
I remember that.
Absolutely right.
And you were like, I don't know.
I had grown up in New York and I had lived in New York. I lived in Long Island. I lived in New York City. I hit a wall, in New York. I did not get past at the Comedy Cellar, for example. I did a audition. I was nervous. The first joke I did was a joke about AIDS where I went, I'm like, but then I was like, oh, this was not an opener where I said like, if I'm like, people live till 70 now with AIDS. So I was like, if I had AIDS, it wouldn't even be in the top 10 things killing me. I'd go to the doctor and he'd go, the good news is you have AIDS. And then he'd go, your cholesterol's high because the AIDS might help with that. We don't know. And then I call my dad and I'm like, Dad, it's just AIDS. And he goes, you're finally taking care of yourself. And he's yelling to my stepmother, it's just AIDS. He's fine. And I remember how many times I just said the word AIDS in the joke. It was just AIDS. Yeah. And I'd only been on stage about a minute. And it was literally like, I had not won the audience over. It was kind of that classic audition mistake.
It's a weird thing of that there is, it's an intangible, but you earn a respect with an audience and you have to do it long enough where you don't really give a fuck about their respect.
That's right.
That's right. And when you're young, a joke like that, I can see it's making me laugh right now.
Yes.
But then when you're young, I can see.
Well, I didn't have the confidence, and I think I was just kind of. There's nothing worse than being like AIDS ? Like there was no confidence behind it, and I was depressed, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be a fucking guy that nothing works, and then I had this epiphany of like. I might have to change something radical, like, and that was like leaving everything I know and everybody I know and going 3,000 miles across the country because I saw what was happening here. I saw what you and Theo and Joey and, Tom were doing. And obviously we all knew what Rogan was doing. Like there was an energy here I liked. There was a DIY, do it yourself energy. Yeah. It was very interesting. Like I always tell people LA has eras. And there's certain people that move to LA and their era will always be sitcoms, the Fox lot, right?
Yeah.
You've been here many eras, right?
I've been for a few, yeah.
You've seen a few of these things, right? Certain eras.
I feel like I'm going into a new era right now.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you're more plugged in than anyone. So it's amazing to what you think that era is.
Oh, I've talked about it. It is the salad days, like the favorite times. You ever getting broke up with a girl or a guy and you it's the worst hurt you've ever felt. And then all of a sudden, 8 months later, you go, God, I kind of miss it.
Interesting.
I miss the hurt. I miss the going to Barnes & Noble at 11 o'clock at night to get Men Are From Venus, Women Are From Mars, and to work on myself.
Yeah, so you're saying, how does that...
That's right now, that's what we're going through in LA, where the breakup phase, where in a year, 2 years, people are going to look back and go, it's like everyone always talks about the store. They go, oh, do you remember when the store, when the lunatics were running the asylum? Those were the fucking days. That's what they talk about. But those were the worst days of the store. Those were the worst days when they could not pay bills because no one was there and Joe was getting kicked out for Carlos.
Do you think we're going to be looking back at this time
as the best time that ever happened in stand-up?
Yeah, I agree.
I think.
I agree.
And what's going to happen is there's going to be a big, big, big flood coming up in 2 to 5 years. And everyone will think that's the heyday. But now's the moment.
Right.
That builds that moment. And
I'm so happy and lucky that I came when I did. The era of my LA was always these office buildings or strip malls where these, people had these studios where they were able to make stuff and put it out.
Yeah.
And that was the era that now the people before me all came here to get jobs in the business. And there are still people, getting jobs in the business, but those jobs are far less.
You were the guy who moved to...
I was almost the last guy on the boat.
No.
Right, okay.
You were the guy... Can I tell you this is why? I've thought of this a few times. You were the guy that moved out to the gold rush and realized, I bet if I sell jeans, I could make money.
Right.
Like
right.
You weren't looking for the gold. And there are guys that came out for the gold rush and they were like, I want gold. I want to make gold. And you were like, oh, there's a business about this.
Yes.
I don't need to be precious with what I'm doing.
Right.
I just want to do it.
I want to do it.
Yeah,
I want to do it. I want to put out sketches.
Yeah.
I want to podcast. I want to do stand-up. I want to be funny and entertain people across. I don't need a movie. And if I get one, great, but I didn't need that big.
You didn't need the industry. You didn't need the industry. You didn't need to buy a pan and a shovel.
Right.
And I'll tell you, and I think it's the thing that everyone thinks is cool about your new special.
Yeah.
Is you out of all the people, except for maybe Stavros and Nick Mullen, you did not ask for the industry's approval in any fucking way.
Yeah.
I would say went right up against the industry and said, I'm Tim Dillon. I do my thing. I owe those guys,
I owe Come Town a debt of gratitude because they were the first, like one of the first Patreon podcasts in New York of comics. Looking at those guys going, wow, look at what is possible.
And Adam, I didn't mean to take Adam out of it. Sorry.
I'm sorry. The most important one.
Yeah.
But that was a big thing when those guys, as soon as I found out about Patreon, I'm like, what is this? So people can pay you directly for your content. It was weird. It was like, oh my God. And I still feel like it should have been a bigger thing in the business, right?
I think so.
But I see the way that managers or agents a lot of times poo-poo things that they don't make money from.
You know what it is?
And they don't need, You know what
it is, Tim?
Yeah.
I don't know how many meetings you've taken. I'm trying to think of the right thing.
Many.
So this just came up. There's a new arrival on Netflix. It's called, I can't read anything. It's called Me Time, right? So
okay.
I don't, there's a new show on Netflix. I'm not talking shit about Me Time.
Right.
So this is how this industry works. Your agents and managers will, and anyone in the industry will sit down and you and go, have you seen Me Time? And you're like, I haven't. Like, you've got to binge it. It's the greatest show. It's the best thing ever. And I'll tell you why. This guy has nailed LA. He's nailed Hollywood. Right. The way that Hollywood operates. And that's why Me Time is the great. Oh, Me Time's a Kevin Hart movie. Oh, yeah. My bad. I'm so sorry, Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg. But that's what they do. They'll talk about it. Because they all have money vested in that. They never talk about Tim, Dillon, Stavros, Nick, Adam,
whoever.
Bert, Tom, Joe. You know why? They don't have money invested in us. So they can't get money off of our podcast or our Patreon.
Right.
So no one celebrates podcasts within the industry out loud, but they'll celebrate Dexter.
But behind closed doors will go, that's so funny.
Yeah.
They will. They'll go, that's really, really funny.
I just left a meeting.
Yeah.
I just left a meeting with a very big Hollywood person. And I looked at my phone. He said, do you have a hard out? And I said, I have a podcast at 1:00. He goes, who with? I said, Tim Dillon. He goes, are you fucking serious? And I went, oh, yeah. Have you seen his new special? And he goes, he's got a special? I said, on Netflix. He goes, dude, I fucking love his podcast.
Well, Netflix has done a lot of great marketing. It's I appreciate that.
You were on the front page the other day.
No, it was good. People searched it. It was in the most popular and
It's a great special.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's a great special.
Well, I was learning from you guys, coming out here and learning, like, you got to market yourself. You got to do everything. You got to work in every corner of this space you can. Do everything you can. Make it as funny as you can. Like, getting that education. I love New York. A lot of the New York guys are really getting that now.
Yeah.
It took a while.
It did take a while.
Because New York is about, Louis C.K. explains it brilliantly. He's like, LA's always kind of been a content town, television, film, now the internet, but it's always been, New York's a performance town. So New York is stages, it's Broadway, it's Carnegie Hall, it's the Philharmonic, it's the ballet, it's the Metropolitan Opera, it's all the, the comedy clubs, the Comedy Cellar. It's this discipline of like every night I will do this amount of things. And then you put it all out, you leave it all on the field, and your hope is that those institutions are able to then elevate you.
Yeah.
That's the way New York works as opposed to LA. It's a little bit of the Wild West out here where it's like grab office space, get some fucking microphones, figure something out, try to be as funny as you can. And I like that better. That was more, that spoke to me more. I like freedom.
Yeah.
I like not knowing what I like being able to go, well, let's record when we want, when I feel the funniest. Let's record at midnight. And it's like sometimes, you have to do that.
That's what I love. I love that about Hollywood. And it's interesting because the industry seems to try to stamp that out a little bit. They don't want you doing your own thing. They want you to be in the system of hey, let's set up some meeting with writers. Right. I just had a big fucking fallout about this in a meeting the other day where I was like, I'm actually done. Like I talked about it. Yeah. You'll hear about it in Two Bears, One Cave coming up. I go, I'm done. I'm done waiting for meetings to be set up. Like I can do it. Right. Like I have the money to make it. Right. I'm the one, like, we're the one they need to make it, the talent. Right. Yeah. And so I got the key ingredient. I got the flour. Yeah. All I need is the egg to make the pasta.
Yeah. I think everything has become something that you can do yourself, except movies, because they're too expensive. Now,
Kevin. Oh, yeah.
No, it's Kevin who?
I'm not going to say it. I heard it in a meeting and I shouldn't say it out loud.
Okay. Eventually, because these are little TV networks. You see what Tom has, what you have. These are little networks, right? Yeah. Our shows get a certain amount of people. It's more than what Kimmel gets, truly. If you look at the numbers.
For real.
For real.
I mean, I know Two Bears is.
For real.
Yeah.
That being said, eventually movies.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it is. Now, eventually, you're going to see the same thing with, like, you're going to be able to, now Louis just did it. Now, Louis is obviously very successful.
He's an outlier.
He's an outlier.
And he's a little, and there's so much
brilliant.
More,
he's wealthy. He's
and
got
there's
all
a little piss and vinegar inside Louis these days.
Yes.
I catch of
course.
That's kind of
amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
It's great. He's like, let's fucking, but now, so I think, we're a few years away from like, it's going to be a thing where it's like everybody that we know will be working on a movie in the same way that everybody we know has a big podcast and is on the road with a stand-up show. I really believe that whether it's an episodic thing that you release 10 episodes of, or it's a 2-hour thing, I think everyone's going to be working on a project. And I could be wrong, but that's my feeling.
So when I worked at Travel Channel, and I think you'll see this better than any comic I've ever talked to, because you had a job like a real job where people exchanged money.
Yes.
I think most comics come in fresh out of college, fresh out of high school, and just plug themselves into a system and don't really know how the sausage is made.
That's right.
When I worked at Travel Channel, it was very clear to me. You worked, you would go do upfronts. They would take talent to upfronts. They would have buyers at upfronts, and then they'd have ad sales team introduce talent to buyers.
That's right.
And then you would, through that process, you'd get a great ad sales guy, and he'd say, hey, Carnival Cruise, can you sell them? And you, as talent, you go, yeah, definitely. Bring over to Carnival Cruise. Hey, Bert, I want you to meet the people over to Carnival Cruise. Oh, fuck, I love Carnival Cruise. My wife's family, their definition of a holiday is and I'll tell you why I love Carnival Cruise.
Yeah.
Fucking Guy Fieri. Guy, come here for a second. And then Guy comes over. And then that was the thing. And then all of a sudden, you're making a TV show for, maybe like $750,000.
Yeah.
But Carnival Cruise is funding it, and you're shooting it on Carnival Cruise. And I saw that arithmetic when we got into podcasting, and I went, oh, fuck. Like, it's just that we got our ad sales guy.
Right.
Or woman. And they're introducing us to Whoop, and Whoop saying, hey, you're doing Sober October. Can we partner up? And then they're like, we got X amount of dollars. We're like, awesome. I'll wear my Whoop. By the way, they did that fucking 2 years ago. I still wear my fucking Whoop. I took a show, and then I said, sitcom is going to be like this soon. It's going to be sitcoms. Why wouldn't the exact same algorithm work with sitcoms? It's just content. It's just content. For us, it's podcasting, it's a talk, but there's going to be someone that elevates the game. And then I looked at my cooking show, Something's Burning, which got no money for years because no one was thinking out of the box of like, how do we get this? How do we get money for this? And then I just went old school Travel Channel arithmetic. And so now we're doing episodes of Something's Burning, completely paid for, and we're making money.
It's great.
Based off the podcast system. And I think you're totally right. Now, Grissom, we're going to have to do a fucking privileged titles or whatever read in the middle of our movie.
Yeah. Well, fine. Listen, that's the element of it that's still undecided or people haven't hammered out is like distribution. Like, does Hulu buy it? Do they license it? Does Amazon buy it?
Did you think about not go to Netflix?
Yes, I did.
What was your thought process?
My thought process was I had, I have this really massively popular Patreon where people pay a lot of money to support my show every single month.
Yeah.
And many of them had come out to see me do this hour live. And I felt weird about then selling it to them again.
That's really smart.
And I said, Netflix is at a point now where they're going to take a special and not give me any notes, which was amazing because they've lost 80% of their stock value. And I think they're realizing that at the end of the day, they're going to have to make programming decisions based on what people like. And sometimes what people like, other people dislike. So the reality is there's a few tweets being like, oh, you gave Tim Dillon a special because certain people find me offensive. But it's a very small percentage of people. And,
same people that spell their hands first thing in the morning.
Yeah, for sure. There's a very small percentage of people. And, some of them have Emmys. But the point is, they live in Los Feliz in $5 million homes. The point is this.
Oh, that's fucking. Did you see pushback from your special? I've never gotten.
No, it's a few tweets,
God,
but you know what it is.
Yeah.
So the reality is, it's like a situation where I was like, listen, these people just support it. They support us everything.
Yeah.
I'm not against selling a special in the future on my own or figuring out a way to do it. But for me, we had just come off this 51 city world tour. We had never done anything like that before.
Yeah.
We were in theaters in London, in Adelaide, in Sydney, in Perth, in Melbourne, in Dublin, in Glasgow. It was amazing. All over Chicago theater. We sold the Chicago theater out in a month and did it. It was crazy. One of the greatest nights of my life. Like doing all of these things and just going, listen, I don't want to sell it to them again. Let me just go with Netflix if they let me say what I want. And they did.
By the way, I will say this from my perspective. Netflix hasn't even watched my special.
I love, yeah. Well, they're
like, I remember the Hey Big Boy, the last one I did.
Yeah.
Or I think Joanna came out and she was like, or no, Ann maybe.
Here's the deal. The guy, and I like these people.
Yeah.
But the guy who's greenlight Robbie at Netflix is a really good guy.
Robbie.
Right now, he's also working at the Beverly Hills Hotel as a waiter. So it's very it's very hard. Now
he's redlining it.
He's very good, but he's able to handle it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing, Bert.
Robbie is versatile.
No, he's a great waiter. We had him this morning. There's nothing wrong with it. And so that's all. And I think Joanne did a taco truck. Joanne's not getting in the Beverly Hills Hotel. But she is in a taco truck. She hits the meat. And it's very important because I love tacos. So here's the thing. It's just like, we're lucky to do this. Yeah. And, I've always said to people, I'd rather you come see me live. I think stand-up's better live.
Yeah.
Listen, I like the special. We're happy with it. I'm glad it's out. I hope everyone that couldn't get to see me live enjoys it and watches it. Yeah. But to me, if you're going to pay me money, come live.
Yeah.
That's still my feeling. Even though it's more wear and tear on me, I would rather, it's just more fun.
Yeah.
And I want your money live and I want your money for the podcast because we do a hell of a job. Yeah. And it comes out and we do the right. But as far as the special, it was like, for me, it didn't make a ton of sense to then.
Well, it's funny because I
could have made good money doing it.
Yeah.
But it was like, hey, let's,
I was talking with someone the other day, edit his name out. And he was like, should I put it out on YouTube? Should I put it out behind a paywall? Should I give it to Netflix? Should I give it to ... And I was like, it's going to be a great special.
Right.
Whoever, like yours is a great special.
Yeah.
Whoever sees it is going to love it.
Right.
But I do think there's a benefit to going with Netflix because I think you get a much wider net of people that, like,
Yes.
I mean, you got to realize, I don't think
there's older people. They're not online.
Yeah.
They're not as proficient with social media, things like that. And they are on there and they might discover you. And they would, buy tickets. They certainly listen to podcasts. Like, I think we tend to ignore people after a certain age.
Yeah.
We kind of write them off and go, well, fuck them. But the reality is they want to laugh. Yeah. They're there. They just aren't on fucking Twitter.
There's everyone my age in Florida does not do Instagram. Does not do. Well, most of and none of my single dudes.
Well, that's because of the Capitol riot.
Yeah.
Many of them have been taken off.
A lot of my friends.
Yeah,
there's a lot of my friends growing up with.
There's a lot of people that love you in Florida that took a trip in January to Washington because of the weather, because they love the cold.
I could have very easily stormed the Capitol on accident.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that would have been a great special.
Yeah.
Bert, like that's a fun movie. Bert stormed, like that's really Bert the Conqueror. You're going back to your old. But yeah, I think it'll become less important as we go on where these things are. I think YouTube's great. Yeah. I think people that put stuff out there, it's great. Netflix, I was impressed that they said we're putting it on. Not one note.
I was impressed too.
I was impressed.
I'm really impressed.
I was impressed. To be honest, yeah.
I was impressed because I was like, it made me go like, God, man, they still got it. Like they've always had good taste with the vast majority of their specials. Yeah. They've always had good taste.
Right.
And when I was like, I think Rogan might have told me he was doing a Netflix special. Yeah. I went, yes.
Yeah.
Like that's when you get excited, is when you see someone like the guy I mentioned earlier, when they're like, hey, we want to do a special with you. Like, especially him. You're like,
yeah, of course.
Fuck yeah. Be on the right side of comedy. I'm a big tobacco guy. I think tobacco's got special properties that make you want to have and listen to great conversations. Be it, for me, it was always dip. I loved the ritual of dipping. Maybe you love the ritual of dipping, but you don't love everything about traditional chewing tobacco. Going to a baseball game, fishing. Well, they have alternatives for everything these days, even meat. But where are those high-quality nicotine-free alternatives? Introducing Black Buffalo Zero. If you're 21 and over and you dip, chew tobacco, pouches or long cut, you have to try this tobacco alternative, Black Buffalo Zero. I just talked about them on a podcast, I think yesterday, with someone. Black Buffalo Zero is everything you love about dipping, just without the actual tobacco leaf stem or nicotine. It is made from edible green leaves and food-grade ingredients with the same flavor, texture, and aroma and pack as the traditional tobacco products. No compromise. Here's the deal. You get the same flavors you love: wintergreen, mint, straight, peach, even blood orange. And it's available in long cut and pouches. And if you're looking for that calming, tingling feeling with your dip, you can check out their regular product line as well. By the way, if you want, sign up for their subscription option on their core flavors so you can just set it and forget it. Raised in the South, born in the Midwest, Black Buffalo proudly manufactures their products here in the U.S. We love it. We have it on the bus, and it's so nice to throw a dip in and know that I'm not going to be back on the dip. It's just the ritual, the smell. All of it brings back great conversations. It's 2022. If you're still dipping traditional tobacco or those white portion things, if so, and you're 21, it's time to get with Black Buffalo Zero. It's everything you love about dipping, just without the actual tobacco leaf stem or nicotine. Head to blackbuffalo.com and use the promo code BERT at checkout for 15% off your first order. That is the best offer you will find, but you have to use my code BERT for 15% off your first order. One last time, that's the promo code BERT for 15% off your order. What's holding you back from the ultimate gaming experience? Is it the hundreds of dollars it costs for your setup? Or are you busy, on-the-go type with only minutes to spare? Level up your game with Backbone, the universal gaming essential that instantly enhances your gaming experience on mobile. Backbone just released a PlayStation edition of their beloved Backbone 1. The officially licensed controller for PlayStation was brought to life in collaboration with PlayStation's design team. The elegant colors, material, and finish are all inspired by the designs of the PS5 DualSense controller, all the way down to the transparent face buttons and its visually distinctive floating appearance. Simply plug in your iPhone to the Backbone and enjoy the console quality controls as you play console games via remote play or cloud streaming services and App Store games. Let me tell you something. If you put me on a plane and you're looking to get me not to drink, it is playing on a PS. For me, I just saw the picture of this. This is everything I want. Right into your phone, playing games. I swear to God, it shuts my brain off. My anxiety goes away. I am getting a Backbone 1. There's all there is to it. You can go to playbackbone.com/BertCast now to order your Backbone for a limited time and get free access to over 350 console games and perks. Backbone is now the official partner of Diablo Immortal. Not only is the game specifically optimized for Backbone, but you will also receive $10 of in-game perks Find your next adventure at playbackbone.com/BertCast.
What's interesting to me now is we're working on a book, and
it's gonna be
called The Boomer Guide to Parenting, and it's about my parents, and it's just destroys the whole era of my parents are in their late 60s, early 70s. How boomers parented, their kids in Long Island.
I thought last night drinking at Petit Trois. Have you been to Petit Trois?
No.
It's on Ventura. It's fucking
good.
Amazing. Yeah. French restaurant. I know you like good food.
For sure.
You like. I want to talk to you about that in a second. But last night Isla's fucking going on and on about you, and Georgia is like I think I met him. I don't know. Maybe I got to listen to it. And I said I should bring Georgia in here and have Tim give her a lecture before she goes to college.
Oh, it's not bad.
a little.
I'll do it for free.
Just a little. I'll see if I can get her in here before she fucking takes off to a party. But
congratulations, these kids are good kids and they're going to college.
Well, fucking
right?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's funny, Georgia. I've said this before, but it's more important to say it to you.
Yeah.
Is Georgia was in the woke kids generation.
Yes.
Where you got points for calling people out.
Yes.
And so I remember Elliot Page the day Elliot Page transitioned.
Right.
We were in the old house and Leanne's like, oh shit.
Right.
Our favorite character from Umbrella Academy is transitioned. And I went, shut up.
Right.
And she's like, yeah. And then she shows me the picture and it's just a hat. And I went,
of course.
I was like, oh
yeah,
I gotta do more than that.
Right.
And I make a joke and Georgia shuts down.
Right.
She's like, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Right.
She was very woke, her and all her friends.
Yeah.
And then I took her on Fully Loaded. And she saw Shane Gillis and Dave Attell and Big J. Okerson and Mark Norman, all these people telling the most inappropriate jokes. Dave Attell,
right.
I need a Harry Bush.
Right.
Somewhere in between Wizard and ISIS.
Yeah.
Georgia is crying, laughing, and she's doing this.
Yeah.
And Shane's telling jokes about Trump, and she's like, she's like, Dad. And I was like, you're laughing. And she's like, yeah, but and I got to introduce her to comedy, and especially comedy, irreverent comedy.
Right. And now she's going to Charlottesville. It's a full, she's made a complete turn. Yeah. She's converted to Catholicism. Yeah. She's threatening the lives of abortion doctors. It's good to see them grow. Well, yeah, you know what it is? She's trying to be a good person.
Yeah.
And what happens is there are a lot of people that try to be good people. Don't know, when you're young and even when you're older, it's hard to know how to do. If you just say I want to be a good person, right? There's the obvious, it's well, do you volunteer? And you're like, what? And they're like, do you make sandwiches for homeless people? You're like, be serious. They're like, well, do you help sick people? You're like, I don't even know how I could even try to do that. What are you saying?
There's a pandemic. You want me to go into the hospital?
High? But they're like, well, have you ever tried to be very hypersensitive and judgmental of others? You go, I can do that. I can do that. Yeah, I don't want to go to a homeless shelter and give peanut butter to people that smell. But if you want me to get offended on behalf of others and get mad and throw fits, and if that makes me a good person, well, then I'm in. I'm all in.
Yeah.
Because being a real good person is really fucking hard and it's time consuming. And most people really, truly are looking for a way to do it that's less intensive. So they're going okay, where can I get these points? And then they find social media and they find these things and they go, okay, I'm going to be the guardian of whatever. And, a lot, it's all, and I think now people are just tired. People go, okay, that's where this next era interests me. And you're such a smart guy with these trends and stuff. You know what I mean? I'm wondering where things go now, because I do think people are tired. They're tired of this performance activism. They're kind of bored.
Yeah.
There seems to be a malaise. COVID's over, done, goodbye. Now, they're trying to get new things going. Monkeypox, tomato virus, it's on your hands. The tomatoes kill you. They'll never stop because that's how they made so much money over the last 2 years, just getting people riveted to whatever was going on. Every new thing it'll be tomato pox. They'll never stop.
Yeah.
They will never stop. If one person dies of something in Bangladesh, it will be on the thing of CNN, you better watch out. avocado pox. Like they won't stop. But it's interesting to me, like, it's very interesting where things go from here in our creative world, like what happens. And I wonder.
I noticed collective trends. Like
I wish that we were going back to Ace Ventura. My prayer was that we were going to go back to silly, goofy, crazy stuff. And I don't know if that's true or not. That was my prayer.
So right now, no one's making comedies.
Right.
Like no one's making comedies. But that is all anyone's talking about is no one's making comedies.
Yeah.
So like I just had a meeting yesterday about like, could you come up with a comedy? Like a comedy, like a real, and I think there are people, I introduced you to Kale Boyder, my producer. There are people in this business that are up for making like legit. I can only speak of Legendary because we made the machine over there. And the first day of shooting, we went in and I looked at the script and it was a scene that I liked, but I had heard Rogan the night before on a podcast saying, no one's taking fucking chances in comedies. Everyone's afraid to they're going to offend people. And I went in and I rewrote that first scene and made it as offensive as I fucking could.
Right.
And we shot it. And this is the point where they pull the plug. Like if they get those first sets of dailies and they're like,
Right.
And I got a fucking message back from the president of the company. He's like, go harder.
Wow.
And you're like, that's what I'm fucking talking about.
Wow.
And that's where Tom and I are set up to do our movie.
And you're making the movie with Trump.
If I had Joe Rogan money, what I would do is I would hire Kale and then I would set up 9 movies with all the best comics right now and just go make them.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because we're thinking about, our next step and our next step.
You should make a movie.
We just got to figure out what exactly the idea is, what exactly we want to do, because when you take a year and money and all that stuff, you want to make sure you can't 3 months in go, I think we want to do. What's interesting about a podcast, we've all trained our minds as comics to be like, it's like you're in and out. It's like topical stuff. What's going on? Make it funny, move on. It's like we all have our own little late show, right? Late night shows. And then with stand-up, it's like you get to work on something for a year and then bring it out. And with a movie, it's similar to stand-up where it's like you get to work on it, but you have this one idea that's gold. And you go, fuck, I want this. And me and Colin Quinn had a movie, pitched it to Netflix, had Happy Madison producing, didn't work. But Colin Quinn's a genius. The idea that I got to work with him was amazing.
Yeah.
And it was about Bitcoin. And, it was one of those things that, I don't know how palatable it is now versus then.
Is Bitcoin still a thing?
It's still a thing.
Yeah.
And it will be.
I don't see. I was literally, I was in bed listening to scenes of Game of Thrones.
Right.
Like that's where my brain is.
Yeah.
Like I obviously I listened to you on Rogan.
Yeah.
Probably 4 or 5 times. The last one.
Right.
I enjoyed it so much.
Well, thank you.
I enjoyed it so much because you have such a great. I don't know. I just enjoyed it, and I thought, man, the things that come up in my suggestions on Instagram are not the same things that come up in Tim's suggestions.
Right? Yeah, for
Mine's
sure.
Are boat launches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Monkeys itching their assholes.
We get. Well, there's food. We have that. We have that. Well, my thing is, some people are so cynical that it's actually hopeful. Because my whole point is that life is this fleeting, amazing thing, and everybody's overcomplicating it to a degree that's insane. And this idea that, like, appreciating something or being in the moment is bad, and it means you're selfish and you're not thinking about every horrible thing that's ever happened to everyone, including yourself, and what could happen tomorrow to every horrible. And that's the way that people want to live now. They want to go, but what about the fire in 1812? You're like, what? I'm happy I wasn't in the Triangle Factory fire in New York. And I'm sorry that fire standards weren't better. But can I eat a hot dog? Like, there's got to be a detente a little bit for people's mental health, because it's a little crazy out there trying to solve everything. And by the way, not in a meaningful way. People are trying to solve it like on their phone by saying words. It's crazy.
The Cracker Barrel. Did you ever watch the Cracker Barrel debacle?
Yeah.
Where it was just one person going, that's where they kept all the whips.
Right.
And that's not real.
That's not true.
It's not real at all.
That's not true. Yeah, it's not real.
And poor Cracker Barrel had a moment where they're like, our business is over.
Yeah. It's,
the outrage from a thumb is so, I'm old enough to remember actual complaint letters coming into a comedy club.
That's right.
Like emails, but like you had to sit and write an email.
You'd have to write it, Now I think people are over all of that, except very small groups. And I'm wondering what's next. I'm very interested in what is next. What culturally will be next?
I think.
Do we go back to the 90s where it's kind of like a apathetic? Remember in the 90s, no one cared about anything? The 90s was this amazing time that people don't understand. Where like you would get on a train and go, I don't have a ticket. And the conductor would go, we'll get you next time. And just walk away because he didn't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People didn't care. Now if you try to get into an office building, the security acts like they work for the CIA. Like they're standing there like they work for the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah.
It's a strange time. And I'm wondering if we ever get to a time when people just relax a little bit.
I got on the wrong plane in the 90s and flew to the wrong place.
That's what I want again.
I got on the wrong plane.
Yes.
And thought because it was Southwest and they're making jokes.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't Southwest. It was before it was early 90s.
Right.
Whatever plane it was, they were making jokes.
Right.
And I was supposed to go to a bachelor party in the Bahamas.
Right.
And I got on the wrong fucking plane.
Yeah.
And I thought the guy was making a joke. I guess we're going to, it was a different island. I guess we're all going to Miami today, huh?
Right.
Or Fort Lauderdale. And I was oh, this guy's good. We're going to the Bahamas, but I like that. Yeah. Who wants to go to fucking Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah.
I got on the wrong fucking plane. I almost missed, wasn't a bachelor party, it was a wedding for my buddy Hank.
Yeah.
He got fucking married. But, and by the way, 2 other people got on wrong planes that day. Scapo Beer and Jay Langford got on wrong planes. We all got on wrong fucking planes.
Amazing. But that's the way the 90s worked. God. And you look back at it, you know, there's something kind of nice about that.
You could go to the airport.
Yeah.
I remember going to the airport and buying a ticket in 98.
Yeah.
Going to JFK and going, I need a ticket to Tampa. And they'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Right. Amazing.
That's crazy.
It was crazy the way things worked.
You would go to the airport and you would buy a ticket for when you wanted to go to Europe. You'd go and purchase it at the airport.
Yeah.
I need a ticket for September 4th.
Yeah.
Like, sure.
So I'm wondering where it goes. I'm wondering things are probably going to get so hyper specific now that like everybody, what's so interesting is back then we lived in a time of like cultural monoliths, Seinfeld, Saturday Night Live, big things, ER,
Friends.
right? These things, Friends. Everybody watched these things. Big movies, right? The Casino, right? Like these things that everyone saw. And now we're living in a time where everything's so hyper specific. You wonder if it's just going to continually get like I always make
spider webbing out.
I always make a joke where like somebody at Chipotle pretty soon is going to turn to their manager and go, "Listen, I have to take off tomorrow. I'm nominated for an Academy Award." And their manager is going to go, "Okay, but you got to come in Friday." And they're like, "Yeah, no, I know." And then the manager goes, "But good for you, man." And the guy's like, "Thanks a lot." Like that's kind of, we're almost there now. There's people winning Emmys who live on the floor. There's people winning Emmys who are broke. They have no fans. No one's seen anything they've done. And they live on a floor. That's going to continue. Like there's people that have an Emmy in a studio apartment that they can barely afford. And they're an Emmy Award winning actor and everybody doesn't care. And in fact, if they bring it up, people go, "How about you shut the fuck up?" It's an interesting time to live in LA when that's the case. And you have Instagram models, OnlyFans thoughts. You have people on the internet that are TikTokers who are fighting each other who have audiences of like 30 million people.
It's insane. Jake,
it's really
Paul,
wild.
Not Jake as much as Logan.
Right.
Logan Paul fucking fascinates me.
Yeah.
Like legit, I am fascinated by that business model.
Oh yeah.
Because you watched Andrew Tate come up.
They're going to make $500 million off Prime is what I believe.
Have you had Prime?
I haven't. I've heard it's good because it's coconut water.
Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal.
And because it's coconut water based, I've heard it's kind of amazing.
It's super hydrating.
Yes.
I didn't realize what it was. I was at the beach up in wherever.
Yeah.
And we're getting groceries and I see Prime and I go, "Oh shit, it's Logan Paul's thing." I do like an Instagram video, like just fucking around. I'm gonna try Logan Paul's drink. I'm hoping it's gonna be bad so I can make a joke about it. But I taste it. I drank a Prime every single morning.
No,
and
they're gonna make
fucking
they're
great.
gonna make an insane amount. Now, why haven't you done a product?
Because
it's very interesting to me. I would think you would do a product.
I do have my own line of flip-flops.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Why not a food product? We tried to do steak sauce, very tough.
Steak sauce?
We were gonna 4-wall an ice cream shop, very tough.
Well, how about?
Do conspiracy theory flavors of ice cream. Jeffrey egg cream. Jet fuel doesn't melt sweet cream. Crisis actor crunch with little chocolate. Well, because of the kids who pretended to die. Yeah, what were some of the other ones, Ben? Yeah, MK Ultra.
Cake batter.
JF cake batter.
What was your chocolate?
Well, there was a gulf of fucking.
Oh, the Gulf of Toffee.
The Gulf of Toffee.
Yeah, that was a good
The Gulf of Toffee.
But there's so many regulations in between.
Black Lives Smother.
Black Lives Smother. He said it.
Smatter.
Well, no, here's the real brilliant. No, here's the real brilliant one. Here's the real brilliant one.
Yeah.
Is S'mores Floyd.
Oh yeah.
That's the one that I'm sorry, but that's the one. If you edit that out, send that to me for my podcast. And that's the one. But here's the deal. It's tough because there's all these regulations about who can serve food.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah. We wouldn't have done that one if it was a real shop.
I have thought a lot of times about buying certain
line of marinades.
So I pitched to Dave. You know Dave Williamson?
No.
Opens for me, a barbecue guy.
Okay.
I pitched to him because he's all about making rubs.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to make a rub. No, I don't mean that disrespectful to anyone with rubs. But you basically just go to a company that does it and you put your package. I said, why don't you do rubs for comics? Like make a Filipino rub
for Joe Coy.
Boom.
Right.
And I go, you do it. You got a Mexican one for Fluffy. You go through the whole thing and you do everyone's rubs. And you let those guys, and then you sell it like that.
And I would have one called "This is for white people," and it would be
just salt,
just salt, just very light. And I'd call it the Hamptons rub. You know.
What? Wait, hold on. Don't let me forget to ask you about.
Yes.
Hold on. So wait, I have had big business ideas.
Yeah.
That I have followed through in, but it always needs just a little bit more money. Like we started Two Bear Sports Management, and it was like I've had some great ideas that I bring to Tom, and Tom kind of goes, okay, let's just sell T-shirts.
Right.
Tom's a little bit of a Tom's less now, but when we started together, like Two Bear Sports Management, I came up with it. I was like, why don't we just get athletes? Why don't we just sponsor an athlete? We'll be their agent. We'll blow them up on our podcast. We'll blow up all their merch. We'll blow up. People start buying their jerseys. People will get around one athlete.
Right.
And we talked about it, and we talked to our agents. Agents kind of shit on it. They're like, it's easy. It's different than you think.
Right.
And then immediately Barstool started it, and it was a fucking thriving business. Right. And we were like, okay. So then we started Two Bears Racing.
Right.
Well, it turns out you need a race car driver to drive the race car, and Tom's on tour for fucking ever.
Right.
So we can't do a race yet. We've got sponsors out the ass lined up to cover our race car.
Right.
But we need Tom to drive the fucking car.
Right.
I would love a bar. I would love a bar. I would love a bar. I want to call it rickshaws. Okay. I want 5 rickshaws lined up on Ventura Avenue in front of this in the parking spots, right? Where you'd put valet, it's rickshaws. And the deal at rickshaws is if you live within a half a mile, we'll pick you up in a rickshaw and we'll take you home in a rickshaw.
Wow.
You like that?
I kind of like that.
Yeah. And so it's a local bar. What you're doing is you're saying to everyone, no one's getting DUIs. If you live around, let us know. We'll come get you in a rickshaw. We'll pick you up in a rickshaw. We'll take you home in a rickshaw.
Right.
You're not going to DUI, but it's a local bar. It's pretty much a local bar. Do you think any of these
people on the way home in a rickshaw look at each other and go, we have a problem? You think any of these people in a rickshaw on the way home go, because people are going to move to be near the bar.
Yeah.
People are going to move. And then do you think they go, you know what? We just bought a house to be close to a bar where people could drive us in a rickshaw to get drunk. We have a real problem.
See, you lived in a community, I believe, and I could be wrong, where you had a local bar where people went.
That is correct.
I didn't get
Lisa's
that in Tampa.
Lounge. No, let me tell you right now.
Lisa's Lounge. Tell me about Lisa's Lounge.
Let me tell you right now. First of all, it was named after a woman who was killed in a drunk driving accident. I swear to God, her father opened a bar. After her, she was killed in a drunk driving accident.
That's a bit ironic.
She had her picture was on top of the bar, and everyone used to toast and say, to Lisa, and we would drink. No, I mean, it could. Does it get better than that?
It does not get better.
It is amazing. The father, God rest his soul, open this bar because he literally said to me, and this was what was going on. People were doing lines of coke off the pool table. This was Christmas Eve. And there was a homeless guy named George who used to live in his car, and he came in and they were dressing him like a Christmas tree and he was drinking. And the guy said to me, he said, I opened this bar because I wanted people to have a place to go on the holidays. And it was so amazing when he said that. It was so hilarious. And he's like, I wanted just a place for people to go. We could all kind of enjoy and keep each other company.
My God.
And, these were I think the term is dregs of society, but these were people.
I've misused that.
Yeah, for sure. These were people who really they enjoyed their freedom. Like they didn't see it as a way to one up other people. And they're like, hey man, I'm checked out. I'm having a drink. I'm enjoying my life. Oh, Tom Petty's on the jukebox. I got a cigarette in my mouth. Things aren't that bad. And did many of them have failed marriages and businesses, in and out of jail? Hey, what are we doing here?
Yeah. What are we keeping tabs? This is an Instagram. I don't need to know about that.
We're here to live.
Yeah.
And they lived. I remember a guy his son killed, or his nephew killed himself. The guy who ran the gas place. And then when the Giants won the Super Bowl in, when did they win? In overtime. It was big. 2007.
Where he called it on his helmet?
Yes. 2007?
Yeah, I think so.
Literally, the guy was like 2 months after his nephew's suicide, was cheering the Giants, and he was basically like, God, we're even. Like, oh wait, yeah, that was it.
God.
It was amazing. And I spent years there, and this was a formative period of my life. I spent like 2 or 3 years there hanging out there all the time befriending all these characters and befriending the bartenders.
This is before before everyone was on their phone.
Yeah. No, nobody was on anything there.
I remember
except drugs.
I remember those days. Those were good days.
Yeah.
But it was my kids. So we have a place we go. I used to live right next door to it, and we used to go there all the time. It's called Pat's on Riverside, and Pat's was a local watering hole. Before then, it was really local, local to the point where even if you lived around there, if you didn't grow up around there, you didn't fit in.
Yeah.
But I remember going to Pat's one afternoon with a couple of comics. It was all the black comics hung out there.
Right.
Oddly enough, it was a big African American community of talent. All the people that were in Selma, it was really kind of cool. I remember going to the bar there one time thinking this is Pat's and seeing like 9 dudes all on their phone on the fucking bar. And I was like, I want a bar where you check your phone in when you walk in. You check IDs, but I'm only checking IDs the way Domino's finds out if they'll deliver to you.
That's right.
Like, I want local flavor. Well,
that's what we had. We had a bar there was another bar called The Helm in Freeport, New York, which was a sea shanty. It was a strip of bars and boats. And The Helm there was something called the Nautical Mile in Freeport. All of the bars and restaurants were on one side of the canal. The Helm was the only bar on the other side of the canal. The actual floor was pitched because it had been flooded so many times that the wood was warped. So if you put like a bowling ball on it, it would roll. And they had the best cheeseburger in the world, still the best. And they served it till like 2:30 in the morning every night. And you'd say a Helm burger with cheese, and they put sauteed onions and this Helm burger, this 30-year-old grill that had like never been cleaned.
God.
And
you realize that
these
you
stories
realize
were
how
amazing.
much of that defined the way we see you.
Yeah.
Because there's part of that.
I would never trade that for Harvard, for Yale.
Yeah.
For anything. Those experiences, spending time in those places was it's why I'm successful. I think
it really is.
Yeah. No, it did.
There's an authenticity to you.
Yeah. Well,
I would say, the same way I have whatever the party thing I have where I spent 7 years in college. You got to spend 7 years in college in order to be the thing that you are, where you are this almost like fucking.
No, me without those places is not me. Like those places, and I loved. You would go in there and you would see everybody you knew, and everybody knew each other from the neighborhood, and everybody was just kind of like, fuck it, let's get boozed up and let's drink, and we did it all the time. And there were people there that were wild people, and people would come in a boat. People would come to the bar in a boat and then get out. I remember with my friend's father, one of the greatest stories ever is my friend's father, this guy, Bud Munster, God rest his soul. He literally, me and my friend Joe and me went to dinner at this outdoor bar in Freeport. And Joe's father was there. He was there. We didn't even know he was there. He was just drinking at the bar.
Yeah.
And he goes up to our table and he goes, listen, I'm going to buy you guys dinner. And we're like, yeah, okay, bud. And he then walks to the bar and points at us, looks at the bartender, points to himself, and then points to us. And then we all waved. We're like, yep. Bud goes right over the thing, gets on his boat and left. We get to the end of the meal. The check comes for $800. I go, excuse me? They go, that guy's been drinking here all week on a tab. And he literally said you were covering his tab that's been going for 3 days. This is the 4th day. And you guys said, he go, remember when you waved? You said you'd pay. And I'm like, and we just smiled and we just gave him, the money. But it was like, that was a type of, I grew up around those people. God. And like, you would see Bud like 3 days later, like Bud just would just disappear and then come back. And like, it was a real, these were wild people. I could never go back to that.
As much as that is you and defines you a little bit, there is this other side of you that I really enjoy that I've just heard of secondhand.
Yeah.
But I texted you. I don't think you got a new number. But like someone came in town and they were like, yeah, Tim hit me up and he was like, hey, come on, we'll go to the Polo Lounge.
Oh, yeah.
Who was that? They were just over here.
I don't know. Was it? I don't know. I take a lot of people there.
Yeah, but there's a part of you that
I love high and low.
I love celebrates the like Nobu.
Yeah,
like
it's either that.
It's either
I would rather go to Nobu Malibu, or I'd rather eat in a prison. You know what I mean? To me, to go to the middle of the road is boring.
Yeah,
the highest of the high and the lowest of the low are fun to me. Like a dirty diner or a 5-star restaurant. Anything in the middle, which is why, I have that's an addict mentality. It's an all or nothing.
Is it? Because I'm all or nothing.
Yeah.
I'm all or nothing.
Yeah,
and I know I have an addict
mentality. There's an argument that you have a slight addict mentality. This is like
yesterday.
A slight argument.
Yesterday, Ryan Sickler came over and he started lighting joints. He smoked 3 joints. I took maybe 2 or 3 hits.
Yeah.
But and I've been sober for like 10 days. I hadn't drank in 10 days. And I was going to Hawaii. I was like, I'm trying to lose weight.
Right.
The second I smoked weed, gloves are off.
Yeah.
I light a cigar.
Yeah.
We're going to dinner, bottle of wine. Like
it's a problem.
And I was like, I go, the cat's out, man.
Yeah.
Like we're in on
cat's
it.
out,
and then even today, I'm like, I go to Hawaii tomorrow. I'm like, I said, Leanne, we have to do a podcast for her podcast. I go, should we open a bottle of wine or a bottle of champagne to talk about? I mean, something, right? Little something to.
How much are you on the road? You're on the road so much.
Aggressive.
It's aggressive.
Aggressive, yeah.
Is this the way you foresee it forever?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny. It's funny.
It's amazing.
I got blown up yesterday by my daughters and wife. This is a therapy thing that I should talk about in therapy. I said when the girls were little girls, they used to do this thing called fancy dinner, where they put on white gloves and they'd put in princess outfits, and we go out to a restaurant.
Right,
it's fancy dinner. So we've always called it fancy dinner as a joke, but you get dressed up. So last night we go to Petit Trois. We have one of the best meals I've had in a very long time. 2 bottles of wine. And I said, it's nice that we're doing this. I got to go back out on the road. This is what dads do.
Right.
And George is like, it's not what dads do. And I was like, huh? And Leanne goes, it's what you do.
Right.
And I was like, no, this is what it is to be a dad. And they're like, hold on. I think you're clouding your selflessness into your selfishness.
Right.
And they're like, dads go out and do the road 1 week and then take a week off and then another week. You go on the road for 5 weeks straight.
Right.
Because you're living your dreams.
Right.
And it fucked me up because they're accurate.
Yeah.
They're like, you're not doing this to provide. We're good.
Yeah.
You're doing this because you're driven and you're a workaholic.
Right.
And you have a special coming out that you're about to shoot. So we just saw your calendar. You're doing 50 cities before in 3 months. To go,
Bert, that is the craziest thing. I mean, it's why. I mean, we did 51 cities, I think, in 7 months.
Oh,
50 cities in 3. And we did clubs as well mixed in there. But that is
I'm doing
amazing.
a couple clubs. But like when we did the drive-in movie theaters.
Do you love? Do you love? Like, does the road make home more special? Interesting.
Yeah, I don't even feel comfortable here.
Interesting. Yeah. I was about to say that. And by the way, I'm starting to feel a little bit like that because, like, I live in like many states, right?
Yeah.
I moved to Texas. I live in LA. I have a house in New York. I feel like even when I'm not on the road, I'm like just wherever, right?
Yeah.
And it's weird. I'm starting to wonder, is that an addiction too? To just not being in one place and like, is that wild?
Well, it's for me, it's the same as this.
Yes.
It's the moment they come out of your hand. Is a 6 going to show up? There we go. Is a 6 showing up? Oh, there we go. Look at that. Come on, 6. But that's I'll tell you what I got for the first time the other day in a very long time.
Yeah.
I woke up in a place I didn't know where I was.
Wow.
And it made my heart race. I went, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
This is what it was.
Where were you?
In North Reddington Beach, Florida. And I woke up in a room and I went, I do not know where I am.
Right.
And I went, oh, I remember this feeling.
Yeah. But I had that too.
I wake up in bunks. I love all of it. Can I tell you, I never went to sleepaway camp. And I feel like the road for me is sleepaway camp.
Right.
It's everyone's in the bunks late night. Everyone's talking back and forth. Everyone's up. The bus calls at 3. We're all partying until 3. Cigars outside. Everyone likes a joint. Another cocktail. Get in the bus. Put on a movie. Oh, shit. I haven't seen Apocalypto in forever. Another drink. Hit pause. This is exactly what cancel culture is. What's going on in Apocalypto?
Right.
And then you get Shane Gillis coming up with some fucking crazy theory. And then all of a sudden, everyone's in the bunks. And everyone's bullshitting. And then everyone wakes up. And they're like, is anyone up? Are we getting lunch?
Right.
And then who's working out today? Let's work.
Right.
I love that it's just everything's always brand new. It's the scratch off feeling, the feeling of every day is a scratch off ticket. And when I was just been home for 2 months, there's a little bit of, I don't mean to sound shitty, but like I do have nights where I look at Leanne, I go, so this is it?
Right.
Like, what are we going to do? We're just going to watch I Love the 80s?
So I'm wondering if those nights are the nights where you're like, that stillness is where you can kind of create that movie. Or that I'm wondering, because I remember when I came to LA and I didn't have a lot of spots because I was just not a known comedian.
Yeah.
That me and him sitting in a garage were like, let's fuck around. Let's make some sketches. Let's do a podcast. Like, I almost wonder if like sometimes the commotion, which is amazing and we're all on the road and it's great, but I'm wondering if like sometimes like that quiet is when that idea hits you and you're like, this is what I want to devote a year to. It's very interesting. I don't know. It's different for everyone.
I had a few ideas.
Yeah.
Within this time, I had one idea that I thought was brilliant. I'll tell you the idea. I had it in Italy. We were in Italy, and I had a dream. When I'm at my height of creativity, I dream really creative.
Right.
So I had a dream. Georgia helped me finish it. I had a dream that there was this little boy in like 1930s nondescript Europe with a backpack on, walking down like a grass, like little lane. You could tell it was, 1920s, 1915, but it just, walking down the street, and a guy comes up in a trench coat with a hat and sunglasses, hands him a pistol and goes, end it all right now. Use this gun and kill yourself. Yeah. And the kid's like, huh? And he's like, trust me, it'll be easier this way. You got to kill yourself with this gun. And the kid's like, huh? And then all of a sudden, a woman in like 1980s outfit, leg warmers, just shows up out of nowhere. And she goes, where's Hitler? And this kid sees it, goes, I'm Hitler. And she goes, kill him. And then people start showing up from everywhere. And it's people, the time machine has been invented. And all anyone's doing is coming back to kill Hitler. And they're doing it when he's a kid. Yeah. And so this kid has to kill people left and right to defend his life because everyone's coming back to kill Hitler. And it's all about the Jews who he's not really familiar with, but this is the reason he creates the Holocaust, is to get the first person. Is it like
present day?
No, it's set in 1915.
But are the people coming back from the present day?
From like right now.
Because then there are also people coming back going, save Hitler. Save Hitler. Get Hitler. Save him.
This is what causes the Holocaust. The reason Hitler started the Holocaust was to find the family whose bloodlines creates the time machine. So that he's
interesting. So now have you pitched this? Because if you do, please put cameras in the room when you do.
Yeah.
if you pitch this to anyone ever, please just film the pitch because that's as far as it'll go, but it'll be the most brilliant thing.
Georgia kills it. I'm telling it at breakfast to Leanna about this dream I had that Hitler created. The Holocaust was an attempt for Hitler to kill the bloodline of the guy who created the time machine because it's made his life hell since he was 6 years old.
That's right.
It's all because of this time machine. People have been trying to kill him since he was 6.
Yeah.
And Georgia says, "Oh, I know how your movie ends." I said, "What?" She goes, "He's in the bunker and he pulls out the same gun that guy gave him and goes, fuck it. He's right." And he shoots himself in the fucking head. Wow. And I go, that's a great ending to a movie that'll never exist. But if I had
the money,
and
we're insane.
Why? Here's my theory.
Yeah.
Would you watch it? If
I absolutely would watch it.
Yeah, right.
I would tear it apart on my show.
Yeah, but
next week I'd go, what kind of retard?
You think Sharknado was bad?
Yeah. I mean,
wait till you see Baby Hitler.
This makes ice spiders look like The Godfather. But no, no, it actually does. It's interesting.
I pitched a show to Spike TV.
Yeah.
Can I kidnap your child?
This is an interesting angle.
Yeah. I said, here's the deal. You have a family? And they were like, yeah. I said, great. You can't do anything different. All I can tell you is in the next 3 days, I will try to kidnap your child. Now, listen, if I get your kid into the back of the van, they're going to Disney with the grandparents. They're going to have a great time. We'll film that.
It won't traumatize them at all.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
It'll be
great
with the grandparents.
It's great.
But that's when the game show starts.
Yeah.
You've got to negotiate the safe release of your child. I say, ransom's $3 million. Can you acquire the funds? Can you acquire the funds? Do you do the drop-off? Do you call the police?
Yeah.
How do you do all of this? And if you can acquire the funds, do the drop-off.
Yeah.
If you safely negotiate the release of your child and I hand him back, you keep the money.
See, this is why people from the rest of the country think we're sick. This is why people think everyone who lives here is insane. Can I kidnap your child on Spike?
Okay, how cancelable are ideas then? Because I lost a joke. I lost a joke book. I lost a joke book.
Yeah.
A joke book is gone.
Yeah.
If you think these are ideas I'm telling you on the air.
Right.
The ideas I think of
forget it.
Are fucking aggressive.
Our Bitcoin movie was this idea where a guy had been locked at, because this is a real thing that happens. This guy, he dies and he had 10 million or 20 million in Bitcoin, but he's locked out of his Bitcoin wallet and they've got 10 chances. The family has 10 chances to enter a password that unlocks it or the money's lost forever. So they then have to start investigating their father's life to figure out what were the 10 things that were most important to him that he would have put as the password.
Oh, I love this.
And they're going and they're interviewing his old girlfriends and his mistresses and his coaches and his family. And they're discovering this life that they didn't know their father even had. And at the end of it, the whole thing, the password ends up being pussy fart. Something ridiculous. But then they find out who they're. So that was our idea of,
the whole time the cat's jumping up in the lab, they're like, get away, Gus.
Yeah.
And then the password is Gus.
Something crazy. But the whole thing is investigating who their father really was. And they discover this kind of parallel life. These things their father was into, they had no idea.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the idea that me and Colin had.
That's a great idea.
I know. Somebody give us money.
It's summertime. The days are hot, the grill's going. It's the perfect time to enjoy wine with friends and with family. But did you know the summer heat and sunlight can spoil your wine and your good times if it's not properly stored? Now's the time to get those bottles out of the boxes or off your countertops and protect them with the wine fridge from Wine Enthusiast. Wine Enthusiast offers designs and the largest selection of wine coolers for every drinker, every budget, every size collection from 600 to 600 bottles. Plus, expert wine storage consultants are available by phone to help you find the right fit for all your needs. Wine Enthusiast is the premier destination for the wine lifestyle, offering an incredible selection of unique wine accessories, glassware, furniture, wine storage gifts, and more. Visit wineenthusiast.com or text the code BERT to 511-511. And from now until Labor Day, don't miss Wine Enthusiast Labor Day sale. Save up to 50% on select wine cellars and furniture now through Labor Day. Text Bert to 511-511 to see it for yourself. Text Bert to 511-511 today. Certain exclusions may apply. You may receive up to one additional text. Messages and data rates may apply. Text STOP to opt out. Isla took my, you're going to have to bleep this out. You have to bleep this out, Halston. Isla got my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
I wasn't using it.
Right.
She was like, I could use that. And I was like,
Right.
great. She takes it to school, her grade school, or middle school, and you're not allowed to have an Apple Watch in class. And so
Right.
the teacher takes it away and takes it to the whatchamacallit, and the alarm starts going off.
Right.
And the principal or secretary is like, hey, what's the password to your watch? And Isla's like, it's my dad's watch.
Right.
She was like, you don't know the password? She goes, no, I know the password, but it's my dad's watch. And they're like, well, what's the password? And she goes, I really can't tell you. And the lady's like, what is the password? And Isla goes, capital, lowercase.
Is it weird with them going to school because of who you are and the people knowing you?
Yeah. By the way, and I don't mean this like no regret. I have no regret about anything.
Right.
I think everyone's very happy. Everyone's very like,
Yeah.
but I think I probably overshared too much.
Right.
Like I never really asked them if they wanted to be famous. I just made them characters in my stand-up.
Right.
Which made them famous. And it's it's
do they have boyfriends yet or no?
No.
Okay.
And I know for a fact both of them have been a little reticent to because boys immediately are like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Fucking ... oh my God.
Yeah.
And so like anytime a boy has brought forward like Georgia just went to orientation and some boy was like, oh, your dad's a machine. And immediately she just and it's like, all right, next.
Right.
So Isla's the same way as like Isla. I've said this before, and I've said this, but this really blew my mind. This is the world my daughters live in. Is Isla's birthday is the other day. She turned 16, and I'm doing a video. She's always said when I turn 16, I get to curse, and I was like, okay. And on her birthday, a bunch of fans were like, yo, Isla can curse now. She's always said this.
Right.
And so they're like, what's her first curse word? So I put a video up on my stories. I go, Isla, it's your birthday. Everyone's asking what your first curse word's going to be. She's eating next to Leanne. And she just looks over and goes, cunt. And it goes, it gets pretty good views. They put it on TikTok. She wakes me up at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. And she's like, you need to get that off TikTok. I go, what? She goes, it's got 6.6 million views. And she goes, I'm not going to be a meme. I'm not going to be the girl where they use the voice like Miranda Cosgrove and go, what's your first curse word? And it's cunt. And then everyone knows that's me. And then I don't get to be a person. Pull it down. And I was like, we have pre-sale going on right now.
Yeah,
what the
baby.
fuck are you doing? Come on.
Then you got to sit down and go, listen, we're in a business. It's called a family business. Yeah.
I make money off of you being a fucking moron. I was telling like but I definitely did not ask if anyone wanted to be famous.
Right.
I just started. And so like, you go to dinner last night. They were totally respectful. Hey, Bert, big fan. We brought a bottle of wine out for you. Let us know if there's anything special.
Sure.
I know you like this salad, the chef. We can get you the chef's recipe.
It's kind of like Ben and his wife. Ben and his wife go out and people go, oh my God, you're the producer. It's like a weird, like him and his wife are like hassled sometimes, but in a good way. I mean,
But did you care about, did you ever want to be famous, Ben?
No, not really. I mean, I didn't even like being on camera at the beginning when Tim was like, I was like, you want it in a one shot, right? He's like, no, you should be in the shot too. I was like,
it's so great. It's such a great call.
I'm still very nervous on the show.
Such a great call
too.
because it's such a great call. I miss the days of the podcast where I felt like you guys were shooting in a mountain house with all of Hollywood underneath.
Yeah,
that was my porch.
We have shot this podcast in Eagle Rock. We have shot it in West Hollywood. We have shot it in Palm Springs. We have shot it in Agora Hills. I've lived in all of those places. Now I'm living in Beverly Hills, but we have shot it.
You're living in Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
I love your decadentness. I love that part of you.
We got to enjoy ourselves.
But you like it in the way, in a kind of like, I don't mean ironic, but like in a, like I remember the first time I bought like an expensive tracksuit and I went, I guess I can wear this on planes now.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit of a nod of I was wearing it, but it was also like, hey, this is pretty fucking nice.
Well, we get to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
We get to behave ridiculously and have fun. And as long as we're treating people the right way, and if people need help, we help them. You know what I mean? Like one of the first things I did when I made like a lot of money, and it makes me emotional to think about it. It's like I gave my father a $20 gift certificate to Panera. it meant a lot to me because he has helped so much. And I said, here's the thing with this. It's a card. You don't have to use it at once. So you get a sandwich. And then if you want a soup, like next week, you can get it. So to me, like the ability to like help my family is so, or my mother's in a mental institution. And sometimes I'll call them up and I'll be like, hit her with another pill today. It's on me. Just knock her out. Just knock her out. It's on me. Someone's having an early night. Patreon came in. So the ability to do that, the Bentleys and the houses, who cares? The ability to comatose my mother or give my father a gift of a corporate sandwich lunch is, to me, is a beautiful thing.
How come no watch?
I'm not a watch guy.
Really?
Just don't like watches.
Okay.
I love watches on other people. See, here's the other thing. I will never spend money on things I don't care about. I really own, there's certain things I love. I love real estate.
Okay, then list the things you love. List the
real
things.
estate.
Yes.
I love homes. I think it's a great place to have money. I love taking my friends to homes.
Yeah.
I love, like what you do on the tour bus, I'll do where I go, everyone, let's go to Hamptons for 3 days. Or everyone, let's go to here. Like, to me, it's fun to go and take an adult field trip somewhere and just have a real good time.
Yeah. Because
you don't get a chance to do that. I think you know, I love that. I love going out to a nice restaurant.
Okay, top 5 restaurants in LA.
In no particular order. Osteria Mozza, Nancy Silverton's a genius on Highland on Melrose. Where is it, Ben?
It's on Highland and
Melrose, or no?
I think it's Melrose. Yeah.
Nancy Silverton, who did La Brea Bakery, is doing it in a masterful Italian restaurant, Osteria Mozza, which is great. Nobu Malibu is a quintessential California restaurant. It is the #1 restaurant in California on this side of the country in terms of the total experience of, like, there's Jamie Foxx, there's Pink. We're fucking sitting on the deck of Nobu Malibu. This is amazing. The waves are rushing in. The waves are backlit. They're fucking lit. Not back, maybe frontlit, but the waves are as they crash on the thing. And the sushi's pretty damn good. Sushi Park in West Hollywood, where we're going tonight, is the if you know spot. You'll be sitting there next to some uber really famous people. It's a strip mall. It's very small. Nobody, you can't really, it's very hard to get in. That's an amazing restaurant. Guela Getza in Koreatown has the best mole they have a tasting of mole. So their famous thing is they have 5 different moles. One is more cinnamon. One is more chocolate.
Really?
One is really spicy. They have a flight of moles. Guela Getza is really authentic Mexican, amazing food in LA, which is a lot of it's Mexico. And then also, sadly, now is sadly closed, the Pacific Dining Car, a classic.
Was that down?
Yes,
down by the railroad?
Yeah, it was a classic steakhouse, an old steakhouse. It's classic, but like, I love Osteria Mozza. I love Nobu. I love the Fountain Room at the Beverly Hills Hotel, which is a little diner. It's about 20 seats, 25 seats. Little diner in the Beverly Hills Hotel. You'd see a heavily drugged Justin Bieber there, with a handler feeding him pancakes. It's a good place. I love my area, like I love that where I live. You know what I mean? We looked at some homes in the Valley, but it's I also love the Valley, but it just doesn't fit.
It's not who you are.
It's not who you are. It's not who I am.
It wasn't who I was. And Leanne sold it to me. And then I turned into the Valley. Yeah. But I really am a Hollywood Hills guy.
No, you are.
Yes,
quite frankly, you are. And these people have destroyed you.
Yes.
But
you have no fucking idea. They've broken my.
We just looked at something off Mulholland. I'm like, that's where it is. Because you like a breeze. You need a breeze. You need a canyon. I like to see the things it's fun. It's fun. Life, we've all had problems. You know what I mean? And there will be more to come.
Yeah.
But in the middle, because the end's never great of life.
Yeah.
And the beginning's often hard. And when you're a comic, you're broke for 10 fucking years, right?
Yeah, you get a sweet spot.
You got a sweet spot. Enjoy it.
I'm in my sweet spot right now.
Oh, you're in the sweetest of the spots.
It does not get better.
No, it doesn't get better.
Than my whole life.
Will never get better than it is right now.
Right now.
And there's such an amazing thing in that. Yeah. No, it'll get much worse.
It's so funny. Sometimes I get depressed, think I'm getting older. I don't realize I'm not sick.
Yeah. No, you're happy.
I'm not. I got all my health. I can still drink. No one's told me to stop.
This is the most important thing. No one has told you to stop drinking. One day, my friend's father, Tom Hoey, God bless him, one of the greatest guys. I could show you one photo of this guy. You would love this guy. He's one of my favorite people. Golfer, amazing. Used to take us to Woodlock Pines in Pennsylvania. We would drink and laugh and have so much fun. one day they're like, you got to stop drinking. He goes, I don't think that's going to happen. They go, well, I don't know, just clear alcohol. And he goes, all right. And then, 12 months later, he's gone.
Really?
Yeah, cirrhosis, it's bad. Yeah, it's bad. Enjoy it now. Enjoy it.
Right now is
Enjoy it right now, because you know what? They will pave over us. We'll be forgotten. They'll forget us.
Yeah.
No one in our business.
You die twice, they say.
That's a great thought. Wow. You died twice in this business? Is that what they say?
The first time you die, and then the last time someone says your name.
God, that's true. Because here's the deal.
Charlie Chaplin's still alive.
I was sitting in the comedy club in Spokane. It's a great comedy club.
Yeah.
And they have hot dogs on the menu. And you know who the hot dogs are named after?
Who?
Joan Rivers, Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Lenny Bruce. And you go, oh, okay, you become a hot dog. You become best case. By the way,
best case.
They were legends.
Best case.
There's too much, and this is what I mean about people having fun and trying to enjoy their life and do all these crazy things.
Sometimes it's about perspective.
Yes.
Sometimes it's about perspective, because you should be a motivational speaker, because I've been waking up.
But I do it in a very dark way. But it's not dark, but it is. But
it's not dark. It's real.
It's real, but real has become dark.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think real is dark, but you have to, in order to see light, you have to notice the darkness first.
Think of how insane it is that we're all here.
Yeah.
And think of how insane it is that we get to do the thing we wanted to do, which is nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. By the way, that's only been an option for like 100 years. That's not even like it was like what your family did or what you could kind of do.
Yeah, what your dad said you were allowed to do.
We got to wake up and go like, I like goofing. And they're like, well, there's money there. Talk to the ad people. You're like, what? We're able to do this thing. So to not enjoy it, or to be, some people in our business are, they're not as, you got to have fun.
I remember when I was 28, I said to myself, I have money, I have hair, I have good teeth at the time, but I'm fat.
Right.
And I'm single.
Right.
And I said, this is my franchise player years.
Right.
To get a wife.
Right.
I need to skinny it all up. I need to lose weight.
Right.
I need to still have money. I need to keep working. Still got my teeth and I got my hair. This is where I'll find my wife. Have you ever seen a picture of me when I was skinny?
Yeah.
And that's when I met Leanne.
That's when
And
and you tricked her.
I fucking bait and switch.
You tricked her.
Fucking cat.
You got her in. And then her. Here's the ring. And now the onion ring.
Shanghaied her. She was drinking hard.
Yeah.
And I pulled the latch door.
Right.
She slid onto the boat and woke up in Asia.
That's right. But I mean, but you've lived an amazing life. When I look at what you've been able to do, it's like amazing. And I remember like going on the road with you a few days and like looking at what you've done for other comics is huge, right? Like what you've done for other people is big. And like, you're doing the right thing. You're not only like, hey, let's succeed. You're like, let's help other people. Let's get them exposure.
Yeah, but there's a lot of comics that are in my text that are feeling like I haven't helped them at all. Well, there's a lot.
Well, but here's the deal. Fuck them. Because here's the reality. This game is about figuring it out on your own.
Yeah.
And everyone.
But here's the thing. That's the reality. That's the reality.
And listen, the Rogan thing, he gave me the exposure, but I learned how to be funny before I got here. Yeah. You made a point. You're like, oh, it was a guy building houses in an area no one saw. And then you went on Rogan, you were funny, and people were like, oh, I want that house. It's a guy that built a house in a good neighborhood.
Yeah.
There people walked by. You were the one who made that point. So it's like nobody should be looking for help. I'm so grateful to you, to Tom, to Joe, to everybody that's given me, to Bobby Kelly, anyone that's put me on anything.
I remember when I first met you, you and Bobby went down and had cigars in Soho.
Yes.
And I remember the look. I think you were smoking cigarettes at the time. I told him that
story. Yeah.
And I remember the look, like the look on your, like you were always figuring stuff. I mean, you're right. You have to figure it out for yourself.
Yes.
You have to. And I remember I wanted Barry Katz to give it to me.
Right.
When I got here, I wanted it given to me. I was like, there's a lot of people that say, when's my turn?
That's right.
And then I looked at Dane, and Dane was taking it. He was saying, "I'll have some of this, and I'll make this, and then I want you guys to show. I want to show you this, and then I'm gonna have some of this." And I remember going like, "God, I wish I could do that." But you do.
Right.
You end up doing that.
Right.
It's just whatever timeline you're on is when your timeline shows up.
Right.
For me, I just had to get to a place where everything was gone and I had kids and we were redoing our house and I was about to get a vasectomy and I got kicked off this tour and all these things happened. I needed that to happen before I went, well, fine, I'm just going to take it. I don't care what anyone thinks.
That's right.
I'm just going to take it.
That's right.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. When you look back, you're like, thank God all those things happened. When I look back, I'm like, thank God I didn't get in at the cellar. Thank God I moved. You know, thank God I came here.
Thank God I didn't get into the cellar.
Yeah.
I got
Thank
past,
God I moved here, met Ben, like, you know.
I got passed by Manny in probably 2000. Right before 2001.
Right.
And I remember when I tell the story, he has an accent. He didn't have an accent, but that's the way I don't know. I tell a story so you know how I felt it. I don't need it to be real. I need you to know how I felt.
It's the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Star Spangled Banner, none of that stuff really happened.
No. No.
So he told me, he goes, yeah, you're past calling SC for your veils. And I remember thinking, holy shit, if this had happened 6 months ago, I'd live here for the rest of my life.
Right. And the Cellar's a great club. No shade to them. But for me, I had to reinvent my whole strategy of what I was trying to do. And I like Noam. I like all those people. But I had to really figure out, like, okay, I got to build. And how do I build? I could build with a partner who's really great at the skills that I lack, which is brilliant editing and who has a comic mind, but is not a stand-up, who can edit and who can make things and who can direct me and who can help write things. And like, you know, we started churning out sketches and doing the podcast. And like, I was basically like, I have to figure out how to, you know, basically be my own network. If no other network is going to put me on, I need to be my own little network. Yeah. And I learned that from Joe and from you and Tom and Theo and everybody. And like that lesson that is the era of comp. Like I tell Ben all the time, I say, we can go into theaters, arenas, whatever we end up doing. I don't think anything will be as interesting to people as when we told them, here's how much money we were making in our room during a global pandemic. When the entire economy was shut down, we were entertaining millions of people from a room in West Hollywood in front of a black sheet.
Isn't that crazy?
That's the most interesting thing I think I'll ever tell anyone, God willing, later in life when I'm talking about whatever. That's the most interesting thing. I could do Madison Square Garden tomorrow. That's great, but everyone else has done it already. But that era of like being in the pandemic and trying to figure out a way to survive and stay alive as a comic presence and force, like that is really wild stuff.
I remember. That's a really interesting you say that because I'm very lucky in that I'm tethered to Tom.
Right.
Because Tom's got a business brain that I don't have.
Right.
We all share strengths, and one of Tom's real big strengths is
business.
Really, like he really sees it differently than any other comic doing it.
Yeah.
And when you are a big comic and you want to talk to Tom about business, he sees through your bullshit so quickly.
Right.
And as you walk out, he's like, don't ever work with that fucking guy.
Right.
But I remember they did some fucking, the whole cast of ... Kids Back for a live reenactment of the ...
Right.
I don't even know what it was. There was a bunch of them during the pandemic. And me and Tom did New Year's Eve. And we did a live show on New Year's Eve. And I remember him saying, like on a piece of paper as we're shooting, he goes, just so you know, that thing that all those celebrities, those 19 celebrities that showed up for the Zoom.
Yeah.
This is how for charity, this is what they raised. Yeah. And he was like, right? And he goes, you know how much we're making? And I went, no. And he went,
right. It's crazy.
And I went,
yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
And I go, I remember waking up that next morning and being like, dude, this, like, there's a way to none of that old shit matters anymore.
None of it. Like
we've created something is so much fun. That's why I love hearing about your story and your journey and your path. I enjoy this part more. Like this is my favorite because I knew you back then, but I love that. I think those are my favorite stories of like Joe and Red Band starting the podcast.
Yes.
And people shitting on him and saying, so you have a podcast,
right.
You sell fleshlights.
Right.
And Rogan going, yeah. And then like Joe and Aubrey starting on it.
Right.
And then they sell it for fucking $700 million or whatever the fuck. Like, I think that's the most fascinating parts of this business to me.
It's very interesting when you're in the beginning of something, you don't realize what it could be, because the beginning of so many things, here's what's interesting. The beginning's always kind of the same.
Yeah.
And the ends are different, right? The beginning, everything starts the same. Like everybody that we know has begun something.
Yeah.
A bunch of people have gotten in a room and they're like, it's our time. And then it's not. And that's unfortunate. There's a myriad of reasons why that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know? But the beginnings are always the same. So everyone has the energy. Everyone's like, fuck, we're doing it.
I remember the beginning of this podcast, I was in my man cave and Tom had said, buy this equipment, and gave me a list.
Yeah.
Buy this equipment. And I bought it all. And he said, he came into my man cave and he helped me set it all up. And I was set it up. He was like, all right. And then Joey Diaz and my dad walked in, and Tom hit record and he goes, this is your first podcast. Don't touch it. Post it.
Right.
And everyone grabbed a microphone and everyone started talking. And I remember being like I remember at the time going like, I'll be the guy that sits behind the desk and everyone sits there and I'll kind of be the maestro. And I'm like, so glad I didn't fucking do that. But it's so funny. That beginning is just my best friend going, you have a podcast. And then all of a sudden you're in a pandemic, worried about money, and you're like, oh no, we're fine.
Right.
Fucking crazy.
Yes, it really
see if George is here. I'm gonna get you out of here. It's 1:30. How long are we going? An hour? Hour and a half? That's good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Let me see if George is here. I'd love for you to give her a speech before she goes to college. If Isla's here, she's got to come in and meet you.
Oh, of course.
Where are they? Is your vision gone yet?
My vision?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Ugh.
Is it starting to? It might. Eventually it will.
My vision, my
Ben's blind as a bat.
For real?
I feel like I'm having trouble reading as of late too.
Breathing?
No, reading.
Oh.
No, I'm good on breathing.
I was like, wow, that's bad.
Eyes.
You're like,
it's nothing to do with your eyes. When does that machine come out?
We're waiting for this. You tell me, what's going on with this Ukrainian war?
Yeah, it's gonna get rough.
Yeah,
it's gonna get rough.
It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
That's exactly right. Because what's happening is you have a very committed guy in Putin.
Yeah, he seems like a little bit of a.
You have a guy who's very committed, and here's what we have very Western timelines. A Western timeline is like we get bored in like 2 days.
Yeah,
they don't. They'll throw bodies at that for 10 years.
Babe.
Hey, are the girls here?
Yeah.
Where are they?
They're in their rooms, I think.
Okay, I'll try calling Isla.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Does Leanne still have like chickens and stuff?
No, they got killed.
Oh, it's sad.
Yeah,
what
they
happened?
Got killed by a muskrat or something. Not
Yes.
Hey, Tim Dillon, the guy we were listening to on the podcast, is out here. Can you grab your sister and come out for a sec?
Hi.
All right. Grab your sister, Georgia, and bring her out. All right, bye. Something got to him during the pandemic and killed them all. Killed them one by one. And then our dogs killed it.
Wow.
Yeah, we couldn't put that on Instagram.
Of course.
We put all the deaths of the chickens, then we brought them out here and we buried them in the backyard. And then our dogs hunted it down and caught it and killed it and brought it into our living room with a dead raccoon in their mouth. Just both of them standing over it. And we were like,
interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of I don't know. It's a weird moment. I love that I'm in the fucking prime of my life right now. I love that. That's my takeaway from this.
Yeah, it is.
Because I do wake up depressed at times. I wake up going like, it's like the girls are going to college. And instead of thinking, no, I'm at.
How old are you right now?
50. I turn 50 next month.
This is the goal from 50 to 60. I believe for you is the golden hour. You have 10 amazing years coming up.
Amazing.
And you should be so happy because you're going to be able to do whatever you want. You're going to be able to give crazy speeches at these girls' weddings. Like it's going to be wild.
And then at 60, it starts.
Well, see, at 60, it starts to get a little different.
70. How old are your parents right now?
In their early 70s.
Early 70s. My parents are in their 70s.
Well, here's the thing. With a regular life, it's one thing. With our life, after 60, it starts to get like, do you want to be on a flight to Tuscaloosa? And then from that, you go, that's when the doctors start going, hey, these numbers aren't, because I just had my thing. I had a cardiac scan. It was calcium scan. They were like, you have no.
Good. You did the calcium?
Yeah.
I did carotid arteries too. Did you do that?
I did that too. They're like, you have no.
I have 0 to 15% in these, which is minimal.
They go, I have nothing. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I used to smoke cigarettes occasionally. Now I haven't had one in 4 months. I'm like, I'm just not going to do it. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Even, I stand outside the store, but it's dumb. I'm like, I just won't do it. And like, I think that like I'm trying to get the weight under control, which is hard.
So hard.
It's so hard. But that's the thing. Like, you get this time, and then, this is when you have the most, kind of energy and all that.
Hey, where's George? There's a snake tail?
Oh, I think that might have been a lizard.
Where's George?
What's a snake tail? Oh, the tail of a snake.
Yeah, there's a tail up there.
Come out here. Where's George?
Interesting.
She said she's doing something. She'll be down in a minute.
Okay.
These are like adults. You
I
have
know.
like two
I
full
know.
adult
So
people.
you know who this is, right? Do you recognize his voice?
Well, the thing that we listen to.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any questions about the decline of America? Yeah. You met him when you were a baby.
You were like a baby. You're like an adult, a full adult. It's crazy.
She's 16 years old and doesn't want to drive. Can you explain that to Tim?
Dad, I just finished my driving test.
Yeah. But
See,
here's the thing. I didn't drive till I was first year of college.
What?
And because everyone drove, I liked going to parties and drinking, and everyone drove, and I never had to drive. And I liked being the one that was kind of driven around, and like I would make jokes, and people would come and get me, and I'd, just always, had a drink or a joint. I mean, not that that's the good way to go, but I'm telling you, it's nice to have not be responsible.
Is that how you feel? Isla's got a big party tonight.
I just don't like.
Are the Valley parties like Karate
Here, talk
Kid?
closer to the mic. What?
Is it like, are the Valley parties, is it like Cobra Kai? Do you all go fight each other? That's what I think it is.
Here, come sit here. Come sit here with me.
I think it's just a bunch of kids like fighting each other. Do you watch Cobra Kai? I feel like you would.
Stranger
Bert?
Things.
Okay. All right.
I did for a little.
Yeah, it
You watch
sucks
Cobra
now.
Kai?
Yeah, for like
For real?
a little.
In the early seasons, it was good. Then it started to
We're watching Game of Thrones right now.
the new one.
They're watching the old one.
Okay, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I like it so far. I like Jon Snow.
It's a great
Or that's his name, right?
George R. R. Martin, the guy. He just looks like a big fat homeless guy,
Yeah.
and he's like a genius.
He is a fucking genius.
It's amazing.
Do you know they made another Game of Thrones that wasn't based off his books?
Oh,
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, what do you think about this one?" And everyone's like, "It's garbage." And they're like, "Just do his books."
right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you know it's gonna be like, they're doing something now called like the Woman King. They're calling it that instead of like the Queen. It's just becoming like this crazy. It's like, yeah, there have been women kings. It's called queens. Like,
What's the future, Isla? What's the future? What's
yeah,
your
what's good?
what's
As
what's
a
your
child,
life? Yeah.
what do you think's coming?
What do you think's coming? Do you think?
Global
Here-
warming.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's definitely coming.
Yeah.
It's hot out.
Are you concerned about that?
Well, yeah.
But like, how concerned on a scale of 1 to 10? Like enough to
9.
keep your windows closed and the air conditioning off?
Yeah. I don't do that.
I don't know.
I don't do that.
So what about your generation? What do you think you're gonna? What do you think you'll be when you grow up?
I don't know.
Can Tim give you some advice?
Okay.
I mean, I think the most important advice is like, whatever you want to do, don't rely on like any institution to help you. Like your kids,
Like mental institution?
well, that yes, because many of them are bad. But like, don't think that you graduate college that it's going to make your life better.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that it doesn't help, but like, don't rely. Like so many people that have so much going for them right now, they didn't wait. Like your generation is good because they're kind of cynical about stuff and in a good way where they're like, we're not going to wait for someone to tell us we can do something. You can
Mhm.
just go do it.
Yeah.
Just go do it. Like I didn't know that growing up. You could just do things. Like yeah, like literally they were like, oh, you go to college, you do this, you get this degree and that degree and this degree and that degree and this. And then you're like, I could just open a restaurant. Like you can do things. People don't realize you can do stuff. You're like, you can literally, and then you're like, it's not that much money to try this thing that may fail, but if it doesn't, I could be a millionaire.
Dude, I watched the documentary. I watched the documentary of And One. You remember those shoes?
Yeah.
And One? And they were like, first month we made $15,000. And I was like,
Right.
what? And they're like, we're just making t-shirts.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we got put in Foot Locker and we made $64 million. And I was like, you can just start a shoe company?
You could do any of that. Like that's the thing that people don't realize you can just kind of do.
What would you want to do? Like just pie in the sky, whatever you want to do. Like what would be like it's a cat sanctuary. It's
and
a
don't
farm.
say solve global warming because there's not enough money in that.
Yeah, there's no money in that.
None.
So what would you do? Like fucking ice cream factory, fucking pizza parlor, be a comedian, be a DJ, be a pilot. What would you pie in the sky?
How about real estate agent? Here's why that's a good. Real estate agent's like a good job.
Yeah.
You just lie to people all day. You put them in positions.
Not good at lying.
Why? You got to practice. You got to practice. You start lying about things that are stupid.
Tell Tim you've never tried alcohol right now. See how that lie
Well,
works.
good for.
No, it's a lie.
Oh, okay. That's nice. That's nice. But that's a good job. Real estate agent's a really good job. It's a great job.
So about an interior designer.
What about an interior designer?
I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'm figuring that out with my college counselor now.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not. I don't know yet, so I couldn't answer that question.
That's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, get out of here. Go tell your sister to come down and
Good luck in
She's
college.
gonna get mad at me if I do that.
Do you want to go to somewhere around here or do you want to go far away?
I don't like LA very much.
Right.
So
Oh, Rogan over here.
Yeah.
no, it's bad air quality.
It's horrible air quality.
Yeah. Tell us
Yeah.
about the politics and the governor not doing anything
No.
about the homeless situation
Oh,
and liberties.
I don't know anything about that.
Would
But
you?
it's bad. You're kind of fed up with LA.
Yeah, I don't like it that much. I mean, like, I'd rather move somewhere else than stay in a place I've already been.
Like
what does
Texas.
your sister think about it?
Oh,
Similar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Not Texas.
not
Not
Texas?
No.
Why not? Did you-
Texas,
open
Austin
carry.
Sucks. Austin sucks. That's why you didn't move.
Yeah,
You
no
know it's gross.
shit.
You know.
Have you ever been to Austin?
No,
Have you
I've
ever
been in
been
the
to Texas?
airport.
You've been in the airport?
Yeah.
That's enough.
That's enough.
Isn't it?
It is enough. It is enough. Yeah. When the flight attendants are eating brisket tacos in the middle of the, you go, yeah, I don't need to see the rest.
Where would you like to live? What's one state where you go, that seems cool? I've never been there, but it always sounds cool. Do you about to say Atlanta? Were you
No.
about to say Atlanta?
No.
What?
I was gonna say North Pole or South Pole.
North
Yeah.
Pole or South Pole?
That's not an option though.
No, it's definitely. They don't have a lot of
It's not
colleges
an
in the
option.
North Pole.
No,
No.
just like say hi to all the penguins.
Okay. Marine
Yeah.
biologist. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Science.
All right.
You know.
All right. Get out of here.
Okay.
We're going
It
to
was
wrap this
good to meet
podcast
you.
up.
It was nice to meet you too.
Um,
Is that your car in the front?
The Bentley? Yes. Thank you.
oh, really?
Yeah.
It looks like a
A
what?
nice pen, she said.
A nice pen.
Some cars with like flash drives and found
Yeah, it's like a Mont Blanc pen.
It's an
Yeah.
interesting way to put that.
Great realtor.
Yeah.
Killer realtor.
Yeah, you'd be a great realtor, I.
This house looks like a pen.
You're going to like this.
Yeah. You're going to love it.
CI.
Yeah. Good to meet you as well. Good luck with school.
Go just take care, I. All right. She's got a big party. She's got 10 girls coming over tonight.
Wow.
They're going up to they're doing a slumber party. And
Wow.
yeah,
You
Leanne and I
order-
have biomarkers to be done at 4.
Do you order like some food or something?
I'm not allowed to be like around
Okay.
because it makes sense. I always get personal about it, but it's like no one wants a fucking
Right.
dude with a bunch of 16-year-old girls.
Of course.
Like, and so I was like, do you want me to get pizzas or something? And
Right.
she was like, hey, we'll figure it out.
right.
I was like, no, but like, do you need anything?
So
like,
now
you need
where
me
do
to
you
pick everyone
go?
up? Tonight, I'll just stay out here. I'll stay out
Right.
here. I'm working on this script and I'm working on these ideas. So I've
You
set
fly
up
to Hawaii tomorrow.
fly to Hawaii tomorrow.
How long let's just do a month of your schedule just out of curiosity.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity. Tomorrow you wake up, you go to Hawaii.
Go to Hawaii. 5 days in Hawaii.
Vacation, work.
It's always work.
Okay.
You kidding me?
Well, so it's shows.
I'm bringing my assistant and my cameraman.
Okay.
Georgia and I are going for our last like daddy-daughter trip, and my
Okay.
sister's coming because I'm going to send my sister in Georgia off to another island
Great.
to relax. But I'm doing surf lessons every morning. First 2 mornings in Turtle Bay, and then the next days we're going to figure it out with this pro surfer. Nathan Florence is going to be on my podcast. Jamie O'Brien's going to be on my podcast. So I'll do 2 podcasts down there. I'll film a bunch of stuff. We're doing a CrossFit class with Nathan Florence. We'll film that. We'll probably go to a couple taco trucks, film that, just content, do some promos for the dates. And then we fly from there to Brandon, Mississippi, do 1 show in Brandon to make up for Fully Loaded. Then we fly to Atlantic City for shows Friday and Saturday. And then I think I'm flying to Austin to do podcasts with Tom Monday, Tuesday.
Are you still using your driver, Ron?
Yeah.
Hilarious. The best.
Yeah. And then we fly directly from Austin to Spokane. I do 1 show in Spokane, a show in Victoria the next night, 2 shows in Victoria the next night, 2 shows in Vancouver, 2 shows in Vancouver. I'm flying my trainer out for those. We're filming me working out with her in 15-minute chunks to put on my website so we can do some workout videos.
Right.
I fly to Denver, Colorado on the 11th. We do a workout at Red Rocks the morning of the 12th. I do Red Rocks the 13th, Wilco the 14th.
Now Red Rocks is how many tickets?
10,000.
Amazing.
Get on a flight from Wilco the next morning. After Wilco, we fly to Lafayette, right? We're doing the Cajun Dome in Lafayette, and then Corpus Christi, Fort Worth, Lubbock, and then I come home. We shoot another round of Something's Burning. I'd love to have you on if you're interested.
Sure,
I'd love to have you. Yeah, we just did 6 episodes. We're doing another 6 over that period, and then we head out to Vegas, Paso Robles, and then I have like 3 days off after Paso Robles.
That is heavy.
Yeah, but I love it.
But you love it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love stand up. I'm getting ready for this hour.
Yeah.
So I'm that every night that I'm in town, I'm doing spots at the store or the Improv. I'm just going to be I love, this is my favorite part of working an hour out is this last push. Like I love the creating kind of broad
refining
strokes,
it,
skinning it up, punching it up, spiking it up, where you go, where you take things and like all I remember is just Shane Torres is so good at going. You need a joke in there. You need a joke, and so I've got a bunch of different comics. I usually tour with Dave Williamson, Steve Fury, Jesus Trejo, Shane Torres, and I'm spreading it out. I'm doing a bunch of comics just so they can all take a look at my hour and tell me if someone's doing something like that.
Yeah.
Because like I had a joke about that I can't do anymore about Tom sucking my dick on one knee and then singing the national anthem.
Right.
And I think Whitney did a joke similar. And so I'm like, all right, it's out.
It's out.
Yeah. Yeah. The 2 people have
just call her and go, stop doing it. I get it. Yeah.
It was such a good joke because then I closed on the national anthem.
Oh, that's so funny.
I'd have Tom go, oh, say, can you see? And then I just hold it there.
It's amazing. We're taking the podcast on the road. So we're doing right now, because I just put the hour out, so I don't have a new hour yet. So we're taking the podcast on the road. We're going to do like a year in review show. So we're going to be out there in November and December. We're going to be doing like an hour and a half live podcast, me and Ben, in some really cool markets. And then we're hoping to end like New Year's Eve in London, where we do like, it's a New Year's Eve.
This New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So it's going to be really wild. We love London.
I love London.
And we really, really
What do you love
it.
about London?
It has this history that is amazing. You looking at buildings from the 1500s.
Yeah.
It's civilized. I mean, let's just be honest. Like there's parts of America, and we live in one of them where you're like, shit, things are going south quickly. You go to London, you're like, yeah, okay, they have some cute knife crime. Here you go. Like
there you go. Stick
a bit. I mean, come on.
Cut your ass like a pineapple, will I?
We, the other day in the valley, I saw somebody just with a real sword, just like jousting an imaginary person. So, I tend to believe that like there's something really cool about it. And it's been, the fans over there have been great. And it's just like, it's a 7-hour flight from New York. So it's not that fun. Like we loved Australia. I loved it. We had so much fun.
Australia.
We love it. But 17 is a tough one.
17 is tough, but you just got to make a run out of it. Like I'm doing Australia.
We made a run out of it. We did Melbourne. We did Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane, Perth, and then we went up to the rainforest, Great Barrier Reef for a few days with Sam Talent, who's opening.
Hold on. Hang on.
Let's
talk about Sam Talent for a second.
I love Sam Talent.
He is fucking.
There's
I'm like, and I know Sam will say this.
Yeah.
I'm an early fan of Sam Tallent.
Sam Tallent, not only is he one of the greatest comedians, but he's an amazing novelist. He's genuinely a great writer.
His book.
He understands comedy on a level that very few people on this planet do. He understands comedians on a level that very few people on this planet do. It makes him so amazing to work with in any capacity because he's so adept at reading things and knowing like what's going on at any moment. Like there's nobody I want to see succeed more than him. And he is succeeding. And his book, I think, is getting made into a movie. And like, he's a guy.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
Secret time. Dude, tell me off camera. You got to tell me after this who they're having play.
Yeah, I don't know yet, but like,
oh my God. Yeah. Oh, that's fucking awesome.
But I'll tell you this. He is a guy where I've had, a lot of openers. A lot of them they're all been funny people. But Sam, there's something special about Sam Tallent.
There is something really special about Sam Tallent.
And everyone in comedy knows it. Everyone.
Powerful thighs.
Everybody.
Powerful thighs.
It's an interesting body. It's a body
it's an interesting way to dress that body.
It can take a beating, can it?
It's an interesting way to dress that body. Like
he's like a frontier woman in a way. Like you could see him just, you know what I mean? Like he's out there in a bonnet, but with a Sith.
Yeah.
There's something about it.
I fucking love Sam Tallent.
But he's deeply patriotic in a weird way.
Is he really?
Well, not, but like obviously he thinks all the things are crazy, but like, I just see him as like this, he has like an American story. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like the idea of him is patriotic. It's like this American story. His wife is like, a doctor, they're just good people. He
is such it's so fun when I see you guys at the opening of your special.
No, we love him, and we're gonna try to figure out a way to work with him more in the future too.
He's the fucking best.
He's just great,
The if you go to, I'm gonna be in Europe. I haven't announced it yet, but I'll be in Europe very shortly after New Year's Eve.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
amazing.
I'll be in London.
Yeah, we're trying to. My agent,
if you can,
yes,
I'll fly in early.
Oh, I would love that.
Let's spend a couple days. I would love that. Meals.
I would love that. The best restaurant right now in London, in my opinion, one of the top 10 is a place called Dinner by Heston Blumenthal, and it's at the Mandarin Oriental. Every dish they trace back to the 1600s. This is one of the top chefs.
My mouth just watered.
Heston Blumenthal is one of the top chefs in the world.
Yeah.
But he takes all of these ancient dishes. There it is. It's not super fancy, but the food, every dish they trace back to like something a king ate, Queen Victoria. And then at the end, they just make they make ice cream.
Look at how beautiful that is.
No, it's stunning. It's the best hotel in the world. No, the tea room's amazing. Go, just bring up the tea room at the Mandarin, please.
Hey, that's in London?
Yeah.
And there's a great hotel?
It's the best hotel in the world. The Mandarin's the best hotel in the world.
Is it pretty pricey?
No, I mean, I stayed in a suite. You don't have to stay in a suite. You could stay in like some type of when
we go to London in January, I want to stay at the Mandarin Hotel.
In Knightsbridge.
In Knightsbridge.
Yeah.
Perfect. I just sent it. I'm in.
Room, lobby, lounge, whatever.
I'm in. See, can I tell you, I would love, and I know that you're already kind of over tapped out, but I would love little stuff like this on your Instagram or on your YouTube because you really do have an acute sense of good. Like you can pick out good quicker than other people.
Thank you.
I have a pretty broad palate. So like there's a Mexican restaurant called Tequila like right up the street that I fucking love, but they got, and Leanne went and she was like, it's not my favorite.
Right.
But I was like, but smell it. Like, look, it's got, the wall has tile on it. Like it's all dark wood and it looks authentic. And
we don't care.
Yeah. She's like,
she was like, I early on I was going to do all that stuff, more travelogue stuff, and we should do some more of that. Some of it is like, because the pod is so big, sometimes I'm like, I just want to tell a story.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I don't do the visual representation of it. I will actually, and when I could, and I go, man, I could really take a photo here. Sometimes I go, there is a place. And I know that I'm connecting people, this very intimate medium. I'm like, and you have to go. And I can do it. And I almost feel like not that a picture steals your soul or any of that stuff, but I do think there's something to the idea of there's a mystery.
Leave it to your imagination.
In the 90s, you used to walk in a restaurant not knowing what it looked like.
Yeah.
You used to read a review and go, I bet that's amazing. And you would imagine what it would look like. Then you'd walk in and you'd go, oh shit, it's actually completely different than I thought, but really cool. You'd eat food you never heard of before.
Fajitas.
You know?
And in the 80s, I met
I met duck à l'orange, but I get what you're saying too. Fajitas, yes.
Dude, I remember the first time I saw fajitas.
Yes.
I remember I was at a place called Bennigan's.
Bennigan's, yes. It was
Bennigan's?
It was a cheap chain restaurant. It was like very like weirdly Irish. Like they had a sandwich called the Turkey O'Toole.
Yeah.
And Bennigan's had fajitas.
Bennigan, it must have been probably 1982.
Yeah, I did a whole bit about that where I was like, because it is like I was like Irish is one of the only races you can just like totally rip off, and it's like silly. I was like, they should have like a Protestant blood burger on the menu, and because it's like Bennigan's, like come on down and get your burger, and like again fajitas, it's crazy.
I used to have a bit that I could never work out, and it never made sense. But I was like, there is a weird colonizer feel when you go to Mexico and you go to a restaurant, and they have to almost like soft shoe it for you. They're like, hey, hola,
right?
Hey, you guys want cervezas?
Yeah.
And you're like, that there's a part of them that's like, fuck these fucking people,
right?
But they have to turn it on,
right? Because
it's their economy,
yeah.
And I kept thinking, what is the like? When will America get there? That it's the decline. I was reading about the decline of Rome, and towards the end, everyone just started going in on them, and I was like, and that will happen to us. Part
of it is like you do see like these realtors that have to run around the hills just showing homes to these rich foreign people,
dude,
and they're just like, and a guy just looks at them and he's like, it's okay, you see the part at like. Yeah, I mean, it is, we've had the run. This is the run. This is the golden age of the run, too.
America's where I am
like,
right now.
Yeah, like America's like, you can still, but obviously the cracks are showing. You're starting to see the things, but we're at the end of it. The golden age probably started, in the 50s or 60s when everyone thought it started with the mid-century modern architecture out in Palm Springs and the big Cadillacs and the this, that, and the other thing. And it's kind of, it really, really went, it kind of, it had its problems and whatever. But it really ran till probably about now. And I think we'll still have a lot of it for about 20 years. I do think in 20 years, this country's going to look, and I could be wrong, but I think it's going to look a little different 20 years from now.
More Asian?
Well, that in certain cities, but I'm talking about.
I'm Team China.
There's going to be these, I believe in one China. I don't even know what Taiwan is. I'm one China. I'm Team One China. But I think that you're going to see, what happened to Detroit.
Yeah.
I think people there'll be areas where people just give up on. They'll go, we're not.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. And
I just read an article about quiet quitting. Have you heard of this? Quiet quitting is what these kids these days do.
Yeah.
They just give you the bare minimum.
That's right.
I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to go above and beyond. I'm going to, it's been circling through my agents and my team of like, it's a long story, but like people who just go like, yeah, actually I'm not. And it's really funny because I hope that I was talking to someone who said, I'm trying to be very broad about this. I was talking to someone who said, this is your career.
Right.
Like I need to work on me.
Right.
And I was like, and it made sense. It kind of made sense where I was like, yeah, it is crazy that I asked people to just work for me and I get all the accolades and I get all the money but then I'm like, it's and quiet quitting almost made sense. Like you're like, yeah, I'm not going to go like social media companies. I'm not going to go above and beyond and make sure I post for all your shows. I don't really give a fuck. You already paid us for the month.
Right.
I'm going to go off and I'm going to do I want to be a social media star.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. And so there's this, but people are quiet quitting. This pandemic fucked up this generation so badly that I think there are going to be a bunch of Detroits.
Yeah. Well, that's going to, I think for sure, I think what happens eventually is people just start to go, okay, it's too much effort and energy to even think about solving this. And then you get to a period where people just go, okay, let's transfer our energy to this. And then everyone will be like, but the casino's coming. Like, there'll be a way to divert. Like, hey,
there's no civic pride anymore. No one's going to, what was the name of the bar?
Lisa's Lounge.
Lisa's Lounge.
Right.
There's no civic pride. You talk to Isla. Yeah, I'm ready to get out of LA.
Yeah.
She grew up. This is her city.
Right.
She should be a Lakers fan.
Well, so this is the other thing, and it's very interesting, right? When the times get tough, everybody, because there's so many options now, they're like, let's go. Let's run. Let's hit the bricks. And there, I understand that, right? I totally understand it. But because these problems are so big and unsolvable that people, I'm just going to leave. But you actually need her generation to go, no, fuck it. We're staying.
Yes.
We're fighting and we're fixing it.
That's can I tell you,
right.
that's the one thing.
And the rich haven't done, the rich laugh. The really rich.
Rogan and Elon.
Rogan and Elon.
Rogan could have changed this city.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I think, you know what it is? I think what it is, and I love Joe, but I think it's just, you get to a point where it's like Joe's taken so much abuse from people for just being honest and saying what the way he feels about things. People that there are machines. We're not living in a time of we're living in a time of like these big, bloated, corrupt machines.
That sounds like the title of my next special.
That's really what it is. And it should be. But we're living in an interesting time. Nobody knows what to do to change anything. Nobody really knows what to do. Like everybody's kind of like, I guess we could, they spent $3 million to try to solve homelessness. You know what they did? They bought signs and they just put them up to say you can't be homeless here. They just took a billboard and went, no homelessness here. But I mean, literally no one has any idea what to do. Like if you said to me, if you put a gun to my head and said, okay, here's $3 million, go solve homelessness. What do you do? I go, I don't really know. The fuck you can do with that?
Yeah. You
got 40,000 people. They all need houses. $3 million in this economy with these cost of construction. I don't know what to do.
There's a young lady that I see when I drive down Van Nuys or Sepulveda.
Yeah.
And she's always at the same corner. I must be working with this black dude. They must have a partnership in some sense.
Yeah.
She's got a tattoo on her foot of a cross.
Yeah.
Like a rosary.
Yeah.
And every time I see it, I go, I want to go back to that time in your life. If I could time travel, take you to the day you got the tattoo, because you were there that day.
Right.
You were there. You were present that day. And today you're not present. You're not a part of our society. You are in a world of hate. But go back to that ink, because that's where you were. Like there is no fixing it. There's no talking to.
It's hard, man. It's very difficult when somebody's mentally unwell or they're on serious drugs. You just have to kind of put people in places where they can get help.
Yeah, where's Whoopi and Robin and Billy Crystal now? Comic relief.
Yeah.
All right, last thing,
Yes.
and then I'm gonna let you go before I go look at your car. Foam shoe retard.
Big, friendly beach retard. Can I suggest that as a special? Which, by the way, is it is what everybody wants to be.
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
it's actually an aspirational thing to do, because it means you're on the beach. You've realized that thinking is actually a waste of time.
Oh, waste.
And everyone loves foam shoes because the feet don't get hurt by the rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good. That's the hardest you've ever made Tom Segura laugh.
Yeah, I mean, Tom loved it. I thought of it.
He says it out loud and starts crying laughing. He says it out loud to me and cries laughing. He'll say it and go, ah!
That Your Mom's House live stream was so wild. I didn't know they watched those videos. I didn't know about that.
You didn't know?
I didn't know the heavy segment.
Oh, can you realize what they're poor kids. One day their kids are gonna be like, Dad likes watching dudes get their dick stomped through a drain with a high heel.
Yeah.
Oh,
amazing. But it was so funny and a lot of great times. I'm happy.
Dude, you're the best. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you for having me.
Congrats on the special.
Thank you.
Congrats on the podcast, both of you guys. And I say this.
It's more me, but yes.
Yeah. But
no,
you wouldn't be there without him. The two of you guys work together as a team.
That's true. No,
and it is fucking, you are so good.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're the best, and thank you for all the help along the way.
Oh, of course. Well, as I'm learning last night, I do everything selfishly.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to be around a funnier dude than me.
Oh, well, listen.
I think Leanne pointed that out, and I was like, oh yeah, I only surround myself with people better than me.
But you know what it is? The next time they say that to you, you go, hey guys, we could all try being poor. You want to try that? Doesn't it look fun?
Hey, let's keep
I
it
can
in
either get on the
silverware.
plane.
Let's eat with our hands.
I can either get on the plane tomorrow. We could cancel the party with the 10 girls coming over, and I could not get on the plane tomorrow, and we'll all go look for a smaller house. And you know what they'll say? They'll say, Daddy, we'll drive you to the airport ourselves.
I love you, brother.
Love you too. Thank you.